on the Pir Panjal ranges, there used to be terrorist activities. And by the time the forces used to reach there, these terrorists have escaped. It's difficult to chase them. We tried dogs, but by the time dog reaches to the Pir Panjal ranges, I mean, everybody is dogs, everything is exhausted.
Till today, before we had this conversation with you, there was no talks about the contribution of the dogs, the K9 soldiers in NSG and Indian Army, and how much they have developed over time.
So by having a dog on your side, the dog leading the attack distracts the attention, and our commandos are so well trained that they can take a pot shot to kill the terrorist.
Our guest for today is a very celebrated gentleman who's established India's military K9 units of all different departments, especially NSG Special Forces. We owe a lot for our Indian security to him. Please welcome Colonel Pramod Chugh. Let's have it for him. See you on the other side.
We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Ankit Bhasin, Director of Radisson Gurugram Udyog Vihar, for his exceptional hospitality and for providing priority access to Chambers, their new exquisite space. K9 Talks is honored to be filmed in such a sophisticated and luxurious setting.
Hi sir, thank you so much for coming and thank you for your time. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Adnaan. It's always a pleasure being with you and discussing about the subject and the passion we share.
Thank you. Looking forward to the conversation we're going to have. So before we get to the finer details, this is something that I want to, ask before we always start, and it's a more of a deeper question, more, kind of semi-personal but more relatable to everyone. So I'll go straight to it. Why do you love dogs?
Yeah, dogs is something I think, as a general rule, I think irresistible for anybody to, ignore dogs. They would attract your attention. And before I speak about me, I would just give you an example of my wife. She never liked dogs. She was always reluctant to get a dog at home. But I, being a professional dog trainer, was like always behind her that let's get a dog. My kids were also interested. But she was like keeping her emotions in mind. We were never bringing dogs. But then finally a stage came in when I picked up a dog, because around 10-12 years back, that the entire training systems were changing. And in army, it's not that easy to, start new systems without getting standardized and verified. But I was like so eager to start all of them. So there was only one way to do that, by picking up your own puppy and start training on that. So it was the time when clicker training was starting and people were like trying and finding great results. So I picked up a puppy when I was posted in field commanding one of the army dog units. And by the time I came to NSG, the puppy was like an year old. So there was no other option than to bring her back to my home. But my wife was still reluctant. So what do we do? So I just told her that I'll keep it in my unit or something, manage. But for a day, just keep it. So in that one day, this puppy, she was 1 year old, Shanna. She earned or won her heart. That next day, she was like, she mellowed down. And she says, okay, you take your time. And today, she's her darling.
The daughter of the house.
Yeah, she's the darling of the home, and she's like developed so much emotion. If I call and she will call, definitely she's going to go to my wife's this thing. Right. So that's why I say it's irresistible.
Yeah, dogs can change emotions.
Yeah, if you allow her to come closer to you or look at her or interact, it's irresistible. So I'm one of those, was always like that.
Yeah, so this is something I always want to know, because we are all in this, space, but this is something that usually doesn't get mentioned. It's more about like, how to raise a dog or how to train or, what about it. But why have dogs made us like this? Because it is a creature of a different species that has changed our life, your and mine at least, many of the viewers, but your and mine most definitely, that we have changed our complete lifestyle and vision, motivation to fully dedicate ourselves into it. So there must be something from inside that pulls us towards them. And as you rightly said, that they can change an emotion or a sentiment of a person who is totally like not interested in them.
Absolutely.
They can suddenly develop within 24 hours, like you're saying, a sentiment towards.
Yes.
So let's move straight to focusing about your journey. And I want everyone to hear about everything you have to say right from the start, like, all the way from where you were born, your parents, their interaction with dogs, all the way up, building up to where we are today, a little bit of, then we'll enhance on the professional journey slowly.
Thank you. In fact, picking up from your last questions, I represent, or I'm part of the Remount Veterinary Corps, which is the regiment in Indian Army, looks after the army animals. And army dogs are integral to the Remount Veterinary Corps.
Correct.
We are responsible for their breeding, rearing, training, deployment,
Right.
healthcare, everything. So that was integral to us. So being a veterinarian, I did my post-graduation in veterinary microbiology, to be specific in virology. So I was more inclined into the laboratory investigations, healthcare, disease investigations, control of outbreaks and all that, and carrying out research also. But ever since I came in contact with dogs while commanding my first army dog unit, this was something which I discovered my passion. Sometimes the entire lifetime goes and you are still, looking for your passion.
Right.
So that's what brought me to the dogs. And then ever since then, I am stuck up with this.
And which year was this?
It was in the year 2000.
2000.
When I commanded my first army dog
when
unit.
did you join in the veterinary field and the professional defense
so
forces? Which year was that?
I'm a 1987 batch,
87 batch.
veterinary graduate.
Okay.
And then I joined army in 95.
Okay.
And initially I was posted in laboratory and other things. Where we
Research.
did, again, a lot of work. But as I told you, in 2000, when I commanded
On
my
field.
first army dog unit,
Right.
that is when my previous Director General RVS and other senior officers, they always, laugh on me that I was a acclaimed virologist and laboratory expert, disease investigation officer, and now I'm no more there, and I'm more
Fully
into the
into
dogs.
training and the field and
dogs and
everything.
dog training. So this is a
So-
transformation. But I love being with the dogs and experimenting with them. I saw a lot of issues which need attention. And I'm grateful to the organization that they gave me a lot of opportunities. I'm one who commanded dog units for the maximum times.
Right.
So I've commanded 3 army dog units in the field, all in the valley,
Right.
with enriching experience. And on the height of the peak of the insurgency. So
Wow.
dogs were being engaged and employed in an unimaginable manner.
Wow.
In fact, I'm one who could find out that there are few challenges which our forces were facing, and they were not finding any solution.
Right.
And I, being a young major at that time, was sitting in the last bench listening to all the conversations in the operation room. We call it op room. So I could make out, look, this is a big challenge, but it's very easy for dogs. Why don't they try it? But then initially being, young officers, I luckily got 2 senior officers, the GOCs of that divisions. They would always welcome the ideas from a youngster. So I could get and gather the courage to speak up. And that's when I started telling them that this is the solution to your problem. And luckily, the challenges were solved. We could conquer a lot of issues were
Right.
resolved by the dogs, and subject of the dog started getting attention.
Right.
I started getting attention. I started getting, more involvement into the operations. And that's how, as we say, positive reinforcement.
Right.
So I
Right.
started getting more positive reinforcements, and obviously I was training more and
Right.
more and more into it. That's how the journey carried on.
Right. It's been a very, very long and illustrious journey for you over 2 decades, specifically in dogs and dog
Yes.
training.
Yes.
Representing our national pride and patriotism all across the border and on an international frontier, and easily over 3 decades, which involves army and veterinary. So it's a very, very broad spectrum.
Yeah.
A lot of us spend our entire lifetime just doing one of these 3 things, which you have done, either veterinarian or into just the forces or into dog training, but you've been able to enhance on that. And now we are finally taking this into a private venture as well. So before we get on to our private journey, I want to talk a little bit more about what has the journey in these last 20 to 30 years, what changes have you seen on a national front for how people used to see dogs in the government forces, in terms of how they used to care for them, and how much, like you said, how much value they were putting dogs, that they probably didn't even see them as that useful.
Exactly.
As you made them find the value and utility.
Yes.
So what has the journey in the last 20-30 years been in the positive and, both positive negative transformations, and then some moments, which have been in the front line, whether it was from the NSG or from the army, whether it was the battlefront, or whether it was any kind of intelligence scenarios where the dogs have been able to make such a massive impact that now the Indian nation cannot think about systems without them, because of you and because of our dogs.
True. So you're very right. I also had my struggle and the failures. So initially, when I started into this field, I found a lot of shortcomings, and I thought that I expected in certain manner, but dogs are not performing on that manner, because one ID missed means you have lost multiple lives. So I was not ready to even lose one aid which I have hidden into scenario for my dogs, and if they fail to detect. But there were issues. So I started getting deeper and deeper into it. And when I went deeper, studied literature, shared experiences with others, asked questions, developed international friendship with a lot of leading experts, and I started learning. And then I started improving my dogs. And a stage came in, all my dogs were like 100%. I used to challenge in my unit, you hide this thing and my dog will find. And it was happening. But success was not coming in our way. And that's when I started thinking, why? My dogs are doing well, but nothing, no operational success, no achievements, nothing which I expected to come automatically.
Right.
And that's when I started understanding it's not about you preparing better dogs. It's at the same time, there are other issues. It's about them being deployed at the right time.
Right.
So then I divided my thought process that one is preparing the dogs, proficient dog. Second is making the user aware about the potential of the dogs, that these are the scenarios, because a lot of failures were because the users were not aware that how to deploy dogs. Then I started spending more time with the users to make them aware. I used to conduct workshops, go and carry out a seminar, educate them, prerequisites, and show them the operational scenarios that this is how dog works. That helped me. And then third is more employment. Once the users are aware and they know that, okay, this is the opportunity where dog can help us, then they will call the dog. So then they started calling the dog. And the fourth step was moke pe choka. So once the opportunity comes and they deploy, then we will not fail. I had motivated my team to that extent that, look, keep your eyes and ears open. Earlier, they were like a dog that having good time, relaxed. If someone calls them, they will go and deploy. Now, they were more integrated with the main operational team. And they were like, any operation coming up, they were like eager to perform. And that's where our success started coming up. And in my first army dog unit in the valley with Victor Force Rashtriya Rifles, and I always call it a first love because that was the army dog unit. We still maintain the record of 9 Chief of Army Staff commendation cards in our term of 2 years. That's still a record. There was no 15th August, no Republic Day event when our dog teams were not getting Chief's commendation or honor and award. In fact, sometimes the bigger battalions were not getting, and our GOC used to say that, look at this small unit. There are 24 dogs, 45 boys, and they're getting every time a couple of awards. And that was the record we maintained in all army dog units. Thrice in Valley. Then I got an opportunity with the Special Forces, where it was an amazing experience. And that's when the Mumbai operation happened, and it forced me to think differently how dogs could do into that. And that's where we brought in the experimenting with the directional training. and indicating onto the human elements into a building without being a passive alert, so that you know that where all the human elements are there. And then which I continued with the NSG. And twice I served with the NSG and commanded last command of the NSG's K9 unit. Was a real great experience where we could experiment and try some of the things which were ahead of the world. So this journey was so eventful and so memorable that, I recall everything has a nostalgic memory.
Right.
And all those superiors and the commanders with whom I've served, they still, remember me, and we maintain a great relations, and they endorse that, it was because of you taking this initiative, this problem could be solved. And that's where the military doctrines were formulated. We could make a lot of new military doctrines. The one which I tried in Vector Force, because there was if you can, we can discuss about it. The first thing, there was a challenge that on the Pir Panjal ranges, there used to be terrorist activities, and terrorists used to do something. And by the time the forces used to reach there, these terrorists have escaped. The para commandos used to come and drop there and carry out, but it's difficult to chase them. Right. And they get hidden into the valleys like terrain and forest. And those kind of scenarios. There was nothing with us. And we tried dogs, but by the time dog reaches to the Pir Panjal ranges, everybody is dogs, everything is exhausted. So we thought if we can save on to the energy of the dog,
right,
that was always a key to success with the dog. The dog has a limitation at the end of the day. So I thought, can we slither with the dog? I'm talking of the year 2000, when this system was not there. So we designed a harness, and we started securing the dog on our back, made a small static slithering platform, started experimenting with slithering, and then took this entire concept to the GOC.
Right.
And asked for a hepter effort, heli effort for our experimenting with the heliborne slithering.
What is GOC?
GOC is General Officer Commanding,
who
is the head of that entire division, the operational division.
Okay.
Division has brigades and then units and everything. That's an operational component.
Top commanding of that
top commanding
battalion.
Officer.
Okay.
So he's of the Major General rank. So he arranged a heli effort for us.
Okay.
So half an hour heli efforts for the dog teams to experiment slithering.
So first time in India, dogs were being suspended from a helicopter because of your creativity. And
so at Anantnag High Ground, we did this in the year 2001.
Okay.
And and that's again an interesting thing. When we went for that experiment, so the Air Force pilot who was running the hepter, he told, no, dogs as per our policies cannot be brought without crating.
Right.
The dog can only be brought to the hepter or aircraft if he's in crate.
Okay.
So I told, no, what are you talking? We have brought dog as an operational component.
Right.
And he's going to slither with us.
Obviously.
He says, no, my manual says this. He showed me the claws and the pairs and everything. And I was speechless. I went back to the GOC, gave a call. Sir, this is what happened. You sent me for slithering and experimenting. But he says, hold on. He spoke to the highest ups because the operational challenges get resolved by talking to each other, because these are operational needs.
Correct.
And their manuals and these things don't come. And within no time, the message was passed to the pilot that these are not the dogs, these are the commandos.
Yeah.
These are the soldiers.
Officials, yeah.
So leave aside your
protocols,
those things, and you have to try. And then we successfully tried. So that was the first time we slithered from heli in the year 2001. And in the year 2001, there were assembly elections. We were part of the heliborne QRTs at 3 different places where my teams were there. And thereafter, we had a lot of successes because of this concept.
Okay.
So this was made a military doctrine, and it was made compulsory for all army dog units to have slithering resources and practice, and it was compulsory. Similarly, what we did, a lot of things got transformed, changed, the policies were changed, and the training systems were changed, the military doctrines were changed. So that was very, very satisfying that, our efforts are getting acknowledged and being replicated all over the forces.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been I mean very phenomenal to hear, because I also have been traveling a lot and working with all special forces of different countries, and one of my perspective was that when will I see a dog in India coming down a helicopter, and only person who I had my hopes tied down was that only Colonel Saab can arrange that and make that happen. So one or two little clarifications from your story that we want for the viewers is that just explain a little bit about what is IED, so that people know what we're talking about as well.
So IED is improvised explosive device.
Okay.
So in Valley, this is the biggest threat to the forces.
And which valley is this?
Valley is J&K.
J&K.
We're talking of
Okay,
the
okay.
Jammu
The
and
Kashmir
Kashmir Valley,
and,
because that's the operational area. Then we
okay.
have trouble areas in northeast. So these are some of those pockets, and the Naxal areas. So where the ID is used as a major threat or a major tool to destroy
These are
or
bombs,
target the bombs.
to put it
These
simply,
are the
bombs.
basically crude
Explosives,
bombs.
bombs.
Yeah.
Yes,
So there are different mechanisms to make that. To just contribute more, I got myself trained, and I've undergone the bomb disposal course,
Okay.
basic and advanced.
From the government itself.
Yes, from the elite NSG's
Bomb
National
squads.
Bomb Data Center. So
Okay.
I've got myself trained. So basic bomb course, bomb disposal course talks about disposing, and the advanced talks about post-blast investigation.
Okay.
So we can even analyze and reconstruct the blast site to understand
What was
what
used.
material was used, what mechanism was used, how big it was,
Right.
impact and everything.
Even specialists, I believe, I've only seen movies, even specialists from the post impact site can know who made it
Yeah,
and
because there are
who
patterns.
cooked it,
Yes,
so they are
yes.
able to figure out the chef and the recipe, you can
Yes,
say,
yes.
through the post explosion. So phenomenal. I before I go to more questions, I'm very intrigued, and I think all of the viewers would also like to know that we want to hear more about NSG, because it gives us that patriotic sentiment. Indian Army obviously gives us the most patriotic sentiment, that it swells us up with pride and prestige, and we wave our flag all across the world. But NSG is that special, like commandos, that are the special forces. So what is the full form of NSG, and can you tell us your journey of how you went from the Indian Army, the standardized forces, moving on to the NSG, and what was the journey there before we move on to certain conflict based instances? We'll come to that later. But so what is NSG, and what was your experience there?
So NSG is National Security Guard. It's a elite Black Cat Commandos. I'm so proud of it. So close to my heart that
Same
I'm
here,
wearing
sir.
the NSG's tie on most precious occasions, and this is one of them. And so I was fortunate to get opportunity to serve NSG twice, and this is like a last response of the country against any terror activities or any sabotage activity. So this is definitely the highest trained force in the country.
You can say rank one in
Yeah.
terms of skill set and
Yes,
systems and
definitely.
everything. Most
It's a
elite.
small organization, but they have a very specific mandate to counter terror, and whether it's on borders, whether it's on land, in seas, or any other location or a terrain. So it's a pan-India mandate for the NSG. And these NSG is handling the most sensitive, high-value missions. And this is the last response, as I told you. So definitely you cannot leave any stone unturned to prepare for that kind of contingency.
Obviously.
So the trends, the modus operandi of the terrorist organization, but you can't be satisfied by preparing against them. You have to prepare against all possible contingencies.
Right.
And I happened to come to NSG with my previous 3 tenures in Army. Then I happened to serve, as I told you, with the Special Forces.
Mm-hmm.
So in Special Forces, when I was there, the Mumbai terror attack took place. And there were few challenges which I thought that how can a dog contribute to overcome those challenges? And there was definitely role for the dog to play. So I luckily had an infantry patrol dog which is prepared to indicate for a ambush when you are in a jungle terrain.
Okay.
But here we are talking about the Taj 5-star hotel. So that dog has no role here. But then since we had our own limitation, but I have never allowed those limitations to overpower me. I always try to find out solutions to innovate and make some way to achieve our
Right.
objective. So I thought that can we train the infantry patrol dog in a building scenario to indicate on a human presence in the building? Because the challenge was which NSG faced was clearing the entire Taj hotel
Right.
after the operation, because you were still not sure whether all the terrorists have been neutralized or still there's one who's hiding somewhere who can counter and inflict injuries to you. So they took, they cleared every room with all full drills in place. And I thought if we know that out of these 400 rooms, 300 are clear. So you can, cut down your time. Obviously. And you can carry out a different drill there. So I started training my dog to stand in the building, and I trained him to give indication from outside for any human presence in the room. And I found the dog has started doing that. It was with our efforts, the dog was precisely indicating the room in which the human elements were there and moving ahead where the human being was not there. So that after doing that successfully, then I thought that still my purpose doesn't achieve, because if a Mumbai attack is there and my dog is going inside, the handler is also moving inside.
Right.
So obviously there is a threat. So can we do something, because dog is a small creature and he can move clandestinely without getting noticed.
Right.
Because we in our country, dogs are everywhere.
Yeah.
We have strays and everything. So it's nothing, a dog sighting of a dog is like raising
big
alarm
deal,
or something. So I started sending dog without handler by controlling him over the wireless command system. So we never had any special system. So we started using Motorola sets.
Okay.
So Motorola
Attached to the
walkie-talkie. So I
harness.
stitched a pouch and put it onto that Motorola with the dog and started sending, the dog was Kapila. So I started sending Kapila into the building while controlling her on the command systems. And dog started doing well.
So this was in the midst of the
Yes.
terror attacks in Bombay at the Taj Hotel,
Yeah.
26/11.
It was post-Taz.
Okay, post-Taj.
So I was in 2009, 10, is somewhere around that time we were experimenting all these things.
Okay. All of these systems.
And so the journey of wireless command system or training on directional training started then.
Okay.
Then I got the opportunity to come to NSG
Right.
with that work which we have already done. And here, NSG, as I told you, being the elite force, so the government is always like positive, what you need, your requirements are met. So I came across during one of the international seminar that the French guys have developed a product called K9 vision system. And I thought that this is what I was doing.
Right.
But the only thing, they have packaged it nicely,
Obviously.
developed it nicely, scientifically, with no disturbances. My Motorola was creating a lot of sound. There
Right.
was no sound cancellation and those kind of
correct.
things. So it was kind of not precisely going into dogs' ears, but also disturbance were there. But this solution was fantastic. So they were developing it. So I offered them, we would love to take it and standardize it and procure it. So we were the first one in the world to acquire K9 vision system,
Okay.
the most modern concept. Since we had already worked on this, so we were quick to develop our teams to train on directional training. So we started training our dogs to send away from the handler while the dog is being given command on wireless systems. And we started sending them into buildings, different floors, while the live video feed was on the tab
Okay.
or onto the laptop, multiple inputs were there. So this was a game changer when it comes to NSG, because now you're getting the first-hand surveillance inputs, and also the assault dogs, which were inflicting injuries and they were leading the operations. So a combination of these solutions really changed the operational paradigm of NSG. And we were like earlier being in the support role, we came into the leading role.
Front line.
So for a veterinarian, which was always part of the services, now we were part of the operations. And discussion used to start with us, and every NSG team started asking for dogs. So we have like those intervention teams, the smaller teams, but dogs were very few.
Right.
So they started asking more and more dogs. And the government and the NSG was like positive. So we authorized more dogs to them, because dog is the one which was inspiring confidence in the team. And that was the one which is leading the operation. because every operation we used to have some casualties, and we wanted to save those casualties.
Right.
So by having a dog on your side and the dog leading the attack distracts the attention, and our commandos are so well trained that they can take a pot shot to kill the terrorist.
Wow.
And we can save our casualties, save our own soldiers. That's what like acknowledge the entire system, and we got into appreciation and got into recognition our role, and that's where we were also satisfied because we could contribute
Absolutely.
and streamline what we wanted. And apart from that, the other dogs like canine remote delivery systems and other, like, we integrated technology in a big way.
Right.
We integrated drones with the dogs. So we tried many experiments where the operational achievement is like operational objective is achieved
Right.
through the help of dogs. And let me tell you, the NSG was very positive. Our commanders were very positive, and they could really, really give me opportunity, see for themselves, standardize it, and then we could revise our systems and our tactics. So this was very satisfying.
Amazing.
As I told you regarding the NSG, which you asked me. So NSG is something which I can speak for hours together, because there are many things and many operations and operational preparedness. And I remember our commander always used to say, and that's a thing which I always imbibe, either you are in operations or you are preparing for the operations.
Right.
So there is no lull period.
Obviously.
You have to prepare for operations, or you are into middle of the operations.
You're always on your toes, basically.
Yeah. So that's what
So-
NSG is all about.
So, because there's a lot of, and as we see on the internet as well, there's a lot of conversations on news channels and on podcasts and on the internet about obviously Indian Army and the Special Forces and NSG's contribution in the national security, especially terrorist activities and certain terrorist attacks and, certain points of conflict and war. But till today, before we had this conversation with you, there was no talks about the contribution of the dogs, the K9 soldiers in NSG and Indian Army, and how much they have developed over time. So two things as you were mentioning that made me again feel really happy that finally India is doing something first time in the world in terms of defense systems. In my context, I only know about dogs. So when you say that introducing the K9 Vision Pro, we were the first country to
Yes.
imbibe it because of you. It excites me that we are now really neck on neck when it comes to technology and keeping up to date, and not keeping dogs and our defense procurement as a final priority, that some accident has to happen or some calamity has to happen, and then we will think. So it is not anymore as you're mentioning, it's not a reactive approach of first issue will happen and then we will fix it. Now
Yes.
we are getting on the proactive front, that let's get all the possible advanced technology and get our dogs up to the mark as whatever the first world's defense forces, US, UK, Israel, France, we're trying to, with your, inspiration and your ideas, we're trying to get up to the mark to be on par and, be in the highest rank. So that made me, feel really excited. The other thing that you said is that since the time employment and even, deployment and inclusion of dogs in these, battalions has happened and it has increased, you are saying that dogs have helped us save lives of soldiers and
Definitely.
civilians because of their nose, because of our systems, because
Yes.
of their protocols. Now there's a lot less casualties and injuries and deaths because of our, including dogs in deployment. So that again makes me feel really nice that it's not just a fluff, it's not just a eyewash that, oh, we are battalion, so we added dogs, but they are of utility and
Yes.
they're of real use. So for the viewers again, can you tell us what all are dogs doing in Indian forces today, and in general, what all can dogs do, what all can we introduce for dogs to help us in the defense forces when it comes to let's say patrolling and sniffing? What all are they doing in India right now? And then later we'll talk more on, let's say, the civilian side, let's say the search and rescue and other things that don't exist in India. I want to pick on that. But first, what can a police dog or an army dog do, just so that viewers have a bit of an idea?
So definitely well said. We have many specialties in Indian Army, and we are the pioneer in the country. We started this dog training systems in the 1960.
Right.
And when one of the Indian Army officer, he went abroad and understood the subject and came back and established the dog training faculty with RVC Center and College at Meerut. So we have explosive detection, we have mine detection. So mine detection is little different from the explosive detection, though there is explosives in the mine also, but the order signature is totally different.
Correct.
So these are buried mines. So the explosive detection, mine detections, we have tracker dogs, we have guard dogs, we have assault dogs, and then we have search and rescue dogs, or we call it like avalanche rescue dogs, because these are for the snow-bound areas. So these are the major streams which we have in Indian Army.
Right.
And they have done wonderful job. The guard dogs, wherever they are employed, to date, there has not been a single incident. They have that kind of deterrence value.
So what all can guard dogs do? They will, any infiltration, any person crossing the border, they will deter them, stop them, protect our, defense borders from it.
Yes. And then there are vital establishments, sensitive establishments, which they are guarding. So their role is like immense. The ID dog, the ED, explosive detection dogs,
bomb sniffer dogs,
bomb sniffer dogs, you can call them. So in Valley, we have a big challenge of terrorists planting bombs and targeting the security forces. So we have every day, we call it like road opening patrols. So very early morning before the sunrise, like at 4 a.m., the duties starts. So we carry out the screening or anti-sabotage check of the roads, all connecting roads, and before they are opened. So to detect the bombs. So these dogs have detected in a most difficult way. The terrorists have been hiding these bombs in a most innovative or in a clandestine fashion. But dogs, since they work on the order, they have been able to successfully detect that.
Right.
So their role is immense with regard to bomb detection, with regard to trackers. And I can recollect multiple of incidences or operations of my personal experience, which always gives me goosebumps when I recollect them. When just I can imagine the dogs can succeed in those kind of scenarios. So one of the most memorable operation was Divya, one of the female dog. She successfully detected 3 IDs in a month.
Okay.
So you can well imagine the kind of operational threshold which
and
we
what was the location?
So this was in the Rajouri area.
Okay.
So this was in the Rajouri area where she continuously, and we also have the intercepts which we trace them, and we started getting even intercepts where they were talking to target this dog because the dog has destroyed those 3 or detected those 3 IDs. So they were telling that Punjabi mein they are calling ki wo kaale wale nu sambhalo ne masala kharab karta aur ye wo, because she was being she could detect those bombs which they were aiming to this
So दुश्मनों को भी पता था कि सबसे talented फौजी को सबसे पहले पकड़ना है before moving on.
Then we had tracker dog, which multiple of them, Dustin, Duster. Dustin has carried out one of the operation over 3 days.
Okay.
And there were 5 terrorists. So that because of Dustin, we could get the 2 terrorists in first encounter, and because it was snowbound December-January period in the valley where the tracks are all unbearable. You just can't walk into those areas. But overnight, continuously over 3 days, first day 2 terrorists were nabbed and neutralized. The next day again there was one more. We followed the footsteps of the terrorist, and the dog helped us to take a site where we neutralized another terrorist. Still, there were 2 more, which on the 3rd day this dog again tracked down and neutralized. The group of 5 terrorists was only and only neutralized because of the help of the dog Dustin. So those are the operational successes which can never you can never forget them.
And which dog is Dustin? Which breed?
Dustin was a Labrador.
He was a Labrador.
He's a Labrador.
Yellow Labrador?
Yellow Labrador.
And
a very tall yellow Labrador.
Okay.
Yeah, I still can recollect the face and the energy of that dog.
Okay.
Yes.
And the other one who you had mentioned, the black one, jisko pura target kiya tha, Divya
was a small compact Labrador, again
Okay,
a Labrador,
okay.
black Labrador,
Labrador.
very small. You just can't imagine that this dog can do such a wonder.
Oh, wow, wow.
And there was another female German Shepherd dog, Kasturi,
Okay.
which gave her life when she detected an ID.
Okay.
Because we had the radio mechanism, RCID, we call it, radio controlled IDs. So the guy, any terrorist which is like planted something, he is willing to see whether his efforts have succeeded or not.
Okay.
There's a natural tendency.
Obviously.
So these guys are hiding onto the higher reaches and observing
Checking the impact.
So they were targeting the convoy, and the dog detected it. And once the dog detected, the dog gives indication by sitting. So these guys could make out that dog has found it out. So they activated that bomb, and we lost Kasturi, but she did saving, was successful in saving multiple lives.
Right.
Because the buses
The
and
whole
the convoy,
battalion
all
got
battalions
saved.
were moving onto that
At least
road.
30 people plus they
Yes.
were easily.
We had another tracker dog, Mansi, which laid down her life while tracking down the terrorists. Recent examples, if you call them, the Axel, Zoom, and this month only the assault dog Phantom gave his life into while participating in the operation. So they are soldiers next to us.
Obviously.
They are like, we all are participating as a team.
Absolutely.
They have certain advantages to give us. We have certain responsibilities towards them, safeguarding them, training them. So it's like a combined operation which we carried out with the help of dogs, and they are so impactful and helpful to us.
It's phenomenal to hear. It's sometimes, some of these stories, I feel like I am there, when you're describing it, because not only for the dogs, because I'm very close to, the defense side of things and general, like, the protocols and the systems and how people plan and how teamwork goes. And, sports, a team sport is like a 90-minute thing. And these are like torrential climate and, strangers who have met each other in a battalion, and they spend hours together in desert, in -50, in +50, plus the dogs, like sometimes their heartbeats and their blood flow is matching. That's how close a team that it becomes, basically. All so that they can protect our lives while we are, sitting in the comfort, using Wi-Fi, going on a Friday or a weekend and having a vacation. We don't even know how much effort someone, at the topmost, like, at the coldest and the warmest place with their dog, with their companion is going through. And the other thing is that obviously there's a lot of media and general hype in terms of K9 units and security dogs. So people nowadays, they only know K9 unit and security dog as Belgian Shepherd, maybe German Shepherd if some older people know it. But I want to enhance the value of, Labrador Retrievers and even Cocker Spaniels, how much they've done for our country.
Absolutely.
And Malinois are now being introduced, by you to the forces and people. But till before that, I only knew of mostly Labrador Retrievers, yellow and black labs, and Cocker Spaniels of different, colors and bloodlines, and some German Shepherds, but again, their stomach and their hips and all would be compromised. But these smaller dogs have done a tremendous job, not only in the forces and security forces, but also so police dog training a little bit, if you can mention how it's different. They sniff out and customs dogs, that they have sniffer dogs for other contraband as well, like cash and illegal equipments and animals and drugs and all of that. So a little bit on that for the viewers, if you can mention how that works as well.
So the army and police, we work in tandem, close quarters, because even in Valley also, when we are participating in operations, the police is always part of us, and we are like together working. And I was fortunate being part of NSG, so we had more integration with the police and experience. In fact, we established the NSG's K9 Tactical Training School.
Okay.
So when I did a lot of work in the NSG, we had a visionary Director General of NSG, Shri Sudhir Pratap Singh. I would love to take his name and give all credit to him for his leadership, that he gave this opportunity. And he told that, Karan Saab, in his own words, that आपने इतना अच्छा काम किया, why don't you share with others? तो आप दूसरों को भी बताइए, उनको भी अच्छा लगेगा, ये है वो भी करेंगे. So this is how my journey towards police started.
Right.
And because of his vision, we established a K9 Tactical Training School, and the aim was to call police dogs and assess them, and then take remedial action to augment their performance. So the theme of the entire school was, or course was, lessons without leash.
Okay.
So we wanted to train our dogs off leash and obedient to order. So that was the concept which I learned with my international exposure. Earlier, or even to date, most of the dogs which are trained on a traditional manner, they look towards the handler.
Right.
Because they have a great handler influence over them.
Correct.
And the old system, old school training definitely has this disadvantage where the dog is always looking for the approval of the detection.
Right.
But with modern concepts, the dog is driven towards the order because of the obedience to order, or it's like I tried training on reward from source. So that's the RFS system which we always followed. So that changed their performance.
Right.
Because it suddenly, we had a 12-week course. So we changed their performance to a great degree. And that was noticed by all the state police. They started subscribing more and more courses. So we conducted more courses and helped out the police organization. And that's where, that was the time when I was like, I decided to take premature retirement from army. Because of my personal compulsions, I had my mother was terminally ill and I wanted to look after her. So those were the reasons. But because of my work in NSG and the vision of the government, in fact, we had another visionary Director General of NSG, Shri Sudeep Laktakia. And there was an additional secretary, then now secretary, Shri Vivek Bhardwaj. So they had a vision to transform this subject pan-India among all the police organizations, CAPFs. So that's where they roped me in because they found that I'm leaving. So, why don't you come and, contribute towards this task?
Okay.
So that's how this MHA's Police K9 cell was established, and I was given a mandate that you drive this transformation and bring standardization and all that. And we started working in close association with the police organization, educating them, showing them the way, conducting a lot of workshops. So I've conducted multiple of workshops with almost all organizations.
Okay.
And shown them by doing the things that this is how you can do it. Because the major issue I still feel which affects our country is the old school versus the new school.
Right.
So we have to migrate towards the new concept.
Correct.
Because that is which is like driving the dog, and it's making the dog self-driven, self-motivated, obedient to order.
Correct.
And not getting influenced by the handler.
Right.
So we started, teaching and making awareness, and that's how the younger generation, the young professionals, they were really, really being motivated and inspired, and they wanted to do more. And that's how the phase of transformation started when I was in MHA's Police K9 cell.
Correct. So I mean, from what I have also, we've known each other now quite some time, and I wanted to point out for the viewers as well that I got that, specialized honor to have, been shown around the entire NSG K9 unit once, and it was an enthralling experience, like, once in a lifetime experience, because in my travels, having met special forces and systems, I always wanted for our country, for me to walk in any part of the world and represent my country, whether it's training the dogs, K9 unit dogs and everything. So it was really, really like uplifting on what you were doing and your international travels and going to the top-notch security forces and systems and bringing them down over here as well. So my experience still before we became close and you showed me around, my experience was that there was this one notion of you can say ओल्ड स्कूल सिस्टम का ही कहते हैं कि एक आर्मी ट्रेनर होता था कि मतलब जो भी अपना आर्मी या फोर्सेस से रिटायर हो गए हैं, BSF, CRPF, आर्मी वगैरह से, वो अब प्राइवेट में डॉग्स ट्रेन करने लगते थे. तो उससे मुझे थोड़ा सा आई गॉट अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ एक्सपोजर टू देयर मेथड्स एंड देयर सिस्टम्स. फाइनली नाउ वी हैव समवन हु हैज राइटली पॉइंटेड आउट दैट somebody went back in the 60s, learned dog training, which is old method of dog training in the 1960s, which is, there is this book, Conrad Most, old dog training methods and everything. Those methods worked. They were very good. They were used in World War. They were used in conflict. They were used in forces. But they were outdated. In my personal experience, what I saw challenging in those methods was that a lot of pressure was used.
Yes.
A lot of, submission and a lot of dominance was used. In other countries, those methods may have worked better because it was always one dog and one handler, almost stuck to each other for life. right? And if I'm not wrong, I don't know the internal protocols, but over here यहाँ पे rotation फिर भी लगी रहती थी कि एक battalion है, एक dog है, अब handlers rotate होते चले जाएंगे. तो पुराने dog training system में ऐसा है कि अब हर एक नया handler उस बेचारे dog पे आके प्रेशर डाले एंड पुराने सिस्टम. सो व्हाट आई ऑब्जर्व्ड वाज दैट इन बॉम्ब स्निफिंग फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर कोई पुराना मेथड से डॉग को हम बोलेंगे तो वो घबराहट में सांस रोक लेता है. सो हाउ विल दे फ्रीली स्निफ ऑल द कॉन्ट्राबैंड एंड ऑल द थिंग्स अराउंड. सो इट इज वेरी वेरी exciting for us to know that the modern systems which involve the modern learning system, the same methods that I am teaching in the private space, you have gone to each and every department, given a seminar, taught them, uplifted them, motivated them, and you personally have taken out your time and labor and efforts to travel the entire world and learn what is out there, so that we are not even हम एक भी unit, एक भी measure 19 से 20 भी ना हो हम basically. So hats off to your all of your efforts and labor into that. And now moving a little bit on to the non security side, that you had been teaching on the security forces front for a very long time, and as you moved and you took a little earlier retirement and you have this wealth of knowledge, now you're moving into launching your own organization which will always work closely and in the best interest of the Indian national government and forces. So it is called Police Dog Center of India, correct?
Yes.
So tell us more a bit about that. What led you to start that, and what is your vision? What has been your purpose to launch that company basically?
So it was established to conclude my half-left mission,
Okay.
if I can call that. So when I was in MH's Police K9 cell, my major contributions all my life has gone into bringing systematic changes. It was not addressing one dog or these things, to bring into systematic changes. So that's where we started. In NSG, as very rightly recollected, we organized the country's first international NSG K9 seminar, when we called all the foreign speakers, and we did it at a great manner. And that time we wanted that this seminar to be an annual affair.
Right.
So when I headed the Police K9 cell at MHA, so we did all that, dreams, all that things which we were thinking that aisa hona chahiye, aisa bhi hona chahiye. So, and because of the positive approach of the government of India, I must credit even the Prime Minister speaking on the achievements of the dog. That's what bring a lot of focus and attention, and the changes which were driven from the top, and we were striving to, and we were steering this all change. So we made now the National Police K9 seminar as an annual affair.
Okay.
Because the major thrust was to change the ecosystem, to develop the ecosystem, transform the ecosystem. So now there is an annual seminar which is happening for the police organizations, National Police K9 seminar. Then we started publication of National Police K9 journal.
Okay.
So that was again 6 monthly journal, 100-page journal. So when I put up this proposal, so our additional secretary, he asked, Colonel Chugh, do you think that we'll be able to publish 100-page journal every 6 months? And I told, yes sir, why not? Because I was confident, but he told me that he gave me a very positive answer. He says, don't put yourself under pressure. Even if we are able to issue a 10-page communications, I'm happy for that.
Correct.
So, but I had my target much bigger. So we started, and we were grateful to the Honorable Home Minister Shri Amit Shah ji. He's the one who unveiled the inaugural issue.
Okay.
And this happened in the year January 2020. So we released this National Police K9 journal, which we are publishing, and I'm the founder editor. So every 6 monthly, because of our contacts, I leveraged my contacts to get international authors contributing towards these journals.
Amazing.
So every issue has 3 to 4 foreign authors contributing towards the journal, and then our own officers, the boys, the handlers, the different trainers, they are contributing, sharing their small little innovations and learning from each other.
Obviously.
So when I did something, and how I learned about it, how I decided to do this, because I did something in the year 2001.
Right.
And 20 years after, I met one young officer, and he was telling that, sir, I've done this.
Right.
And I was recollecting, I did 20 years back. he's thinking that he's done now.
First
Where
time.
have we learned from each other?
Exactly.
Like we are working in silos,
Right.
and we are not learning as a country, as an organization.
Correct.
So there is no interaction, there is no platform where you are sharing the experiences.
Exactly.
And that's where we started this National Police K9 Journal, which is a pioneering thing. We brought a lot of SOPs, standardized the things, matching to the global norms. Because I always thought that, we are the most hardworking communities among the world.
Obviously.
Our fraternities they've gone abroad and they are running their enterprises,
Right.
and you see the CEOs of the top companies, you will
Correct.
find them Indians leading
Absolutely.
there. So what is lacking here that we can't do? So with that impression, we started, changing things and bringing positive transformations. How to select a dog, how to evaluate or certify a dog, how to carry out the selection of the dog handler.
Right.
What all? So basic things we started, addressing them, authorizing them more dogs for dog breeding,
Correct.
more breeds, the newer breeds.
Correct.
So we try to open the horizon and create a conversation among different stakeholders,
Right.
different contrabands which were like not being addressed. So we rope in dogs. Now the road dogs are there with the customs,
Okay.
the Narcotics Control Bureau.
Nice.
So drug detection dogs are coming in a big way.
Right.
So those were the new issues which earlier were not existing. And I'm feeling very satisfied. So after 3 years MHS tenure, I thought that this is still an unfulfilled mission which we need to conclude, because these organizations need a lot of hand-holding, a lot of
Obviously.
support in terms of knowledge, in terms of this tactics, systems,
Correct.
training of the dogs, newer concepts.
Correct.
So that's when I established the Police Dog Center India.
Right.
And now I'm supporting police, security, law enforcement, even private security. So we are trying to, help out these organizations so
Right.
that, this momentum continues.
Absolutely.
Because it would take decades to, actually achieve the
Measurable impact.
actual objective and,
Absolutely.
bring that change.
Correct. So, I mean, on that note, there's something very, very big that you've done for the country, in addition to all of these very, very big things that we are hearing about. So, I want everyone to know that, and a little bit of details on that you have launched India's first official, centrally and nationally recognized, licensed training certification program for dog trainers, and a specific institution. So what is the name of the institution and the purpose? What is the name of the course? A little bit of background, curriculum,
Yeah.
who can apply? We have spoken about this on a personal space, but now that we have viewers, I want that, after listening to you, everyone looks up that course, applies, reaches out to you or me or whoever can guide them to get in on it.
Definitely.
So that I want to see more and more batches of that coming in. So tell us about that academy and the course, and your affiliations with the government on that.
So during this long journey with the dogs, one issue which I realized with the police organization is that once we prepare a dog, that's one, and then dog has performed that second, but still it's half done.
Correct.
You got drugs with the help of dog, you detected bomb with the help of dog, or you have indicated a crime suspect with the help of a dog. What next? So our responsibilities don't end over there. There is still an unfulfilled work, that is judicial admissibility.
Right.
So unless we ensure the dog team's testimony is admissible in the court of law,
Okay.
our work and the responsibility is half done. So I wanted to complete that cycle. And that's where I roped in and I requested the National Forensic Science University, which is the elite university, the top university, actually an institution of national importance.
Right.
It is INI, equivalent to the IITs or DRDO, CSIR.
Okay.
So it is equivalent to those organizations. They have 11 campuses.
How
including-
old is this university?
This is around 10 years
10
old.
years.
10
And
years
11
old.
campuses
And
they
this is,
have.
by the way, this is the dream of the Honorable Prime Minister.
Okay,
So
wow.
he established the Gujarat Forensic Science University when he
Okay.
was the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat.
Okay.
So once he moved in 2014 to the center as Honorable Prime Minister, so they converted that Gujarat Forensic Science University into the National Forensic Science University.
Okay.
And brought in under the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Okay.
And by the Act of Parliament, they gave them the Institution of National Importance status
Right.
and the Pan-India mandate. Plus, they have opened one center in Uganda also.
Okay.
And there are multiple other institutions which are coming abroad, overseas also. It's a huge institution. And in the new Bharatiya Nyaya
But it's an
Sanhita,
Indian institution that
It's an
has now
Indian-
a branch
Yes,
abroad.
yes,
So the
yes.
faculty and the curriculum is Indian design, and now
Absolutely.
it's going abroad. Wow.
So a lot of foreign students coming to NFSU, National Forensic Science
Okay,
University,
okay.
and the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita has made mandatory any offense which is punishable by 7 years or more has to have forensic backing.
Okay.
So from that point of view, and we had glaring gaps with regard to the dog's testimony. So after talking to them, we designed a course which is which has a dog training component and the forensic component.
Okay.
So our endeavor to address two major issues. One is the modern dog training. So during our course, we are training them the contemporary training techniques to prepare a police or a working dog.
Right.
And second is judicial admissibility. What all is needed and what all we should do to
Right.
ensure the judicial admissibility.
Right.
And that's when we launched the Diploma Canine Forensics. This is
Okay.
the world's
Diploma
first and pioneering diploma course, and along with the National Forensic Science University. And since I understand the working dogs professionals, they are all into the working arena, it's difficult for them to spare 6 months.
Correct.
It's a 6 months Diploma Canine Forensics.
Okay.
So we divided it into 2 parts. 4 months is online.
Okay.
So that the theory part I conduct with my faculties, we conduct the courses, online teaching, and then 2 months we call them
On-site.
for physical training on site.
Okay. And this is where?
This is at my facility
In
which
Delhi.
is, in Delhi.
Okay.
So this
at
is
your own facility.
Yes,
itself.
and this is where we teach them the modern concepts, hands-on training on detection dogs, patrol dogs, onto the different type of futuristic dog training techniques, venues. It's a whole composite package.
Okay.
Prior to this, if my child wanted to become a dog trainer, there is no option.
Correct.
He can be a science graduate or a computer science or cyber science.
Correct.
He can pursue many fields.
Absolutely.
But not dog training.
Yeah.
There's no
Official degree.
official or a formal course under the education system.
Absolutely.
So this is in that sense path breaking.
Absolutely.
That today we give opportunity to
Right.
the dog handlers or people who want to make dogs training as a career
Right.
to pursue this Diploma Canine Forensics from the country's biggest and the most authentic university.
Right.
And we have opened NFSU's opened doors to pursue masters, even PhD in canine forensics.
Okay.
We have collaborated with the Florida International University, FIU, Miami, where the Global Forensic and Justice Center is headed by Professor Ken Furton.
Okay.
He's worked extensively in this field, he's one of the pioneering in the explosive and substance detection thing.
Right.
So we've collaborated with them that for higher studies we are willing to send our students there,
Okay.
so they can do partly study here, partly there, and carry out research. So we are collaborating. We are bringing in some certification systems which are matching to international standards,
Okay, wow.
so that the police organization who are looking for the especially customs and aviation securities, so we can provide them the certification matching to the international standards.
Okay. So now the credits that people will acquire from having this course, they will be applicable all across the world in
Exactly.
various universities.
Yes,
you're saying.
yes.
Okay,
So this is
phenomenal.
matching to the international standards, and I'm pretty sure that the dog training fraternity, which are looking for authentic information. Currently, what happens if someone wants to learn, he goes to another trainer.
Yeah.
So in an informal settings, he learns and then he given a certificate.
Right.
But whether it is right in a proper manner, in a format
Correct.
which is acceptable, which is complete, which is from beginning till the end. So we are trying to give them a holistic exposure.
Absolutely.
We have conducted 2 successful courses. Third
Okay.
one is already near completion.
Okay.
In fact, hands-on training is going to begin
So
from
third
Monday.
one is running. And how many people in each batch have gone
The
through?
vacancies are 25.
25.
So, yeah,
So
25,
25
students
each
should
batch
be
will
in
be there.
each batch.
Fantastic.
And we are very lucky that veterinarians are coming for this course.
And it's civilians are allowed, private
Yes,
civilians are
yes.
allowed to apply, or
Absolutely.
do we have to have a defense and police background? or
No,
anything?
it is open for even private trainers as
Okay.
well as police. So
Okay.
our major focus definitely goes on to the police dog trainers.
Right.
But we have allowed the civil trainers
It's
to come.
open for people like
It is
myself. and
such a
everyone.
wonderful experience of previous batches where they are learning among themselves also.
Each other as
because
well,
25 students, 12 or 15 of them are from police. 10 of them are from civil. So every day by interaction there is a learning.
Obviously.
And what we are teaching is an additional thing.
Absolutely.
So it's a great learning. Though there's always like say that what will they do
Right.
with the police dog training?
Right.
But I don't look it in that way because I always feel if country has to grow,
Right.
everyone has to contribute.
Obviously.
We are going to pick up dogs from the civilian breeders.
Correct.
We are going to take help from the civilian society. So if they are centers of excellence, pockets of excellence, they can contribute. They can give
Obviously.
us good quality dogs bred for our purpose.
Exactly.
So that's where we have to think complete and a cohesive manner. We are
Right.
taking them
Right.
along.
Absolutely. This is a game changer for us actually, because I'm also been now in this space for about a good 10 years. I started 2014. It's been like, I'm closing in a
Yes.
decade. So first I started attending courses and learning, and luckily for me, because of understanding how to curate knowledge and build my own system, I was able to do that. But I also started giving out courses in around 2017. So because I understand what university and school curriculum looks like, I was able to put it together. But what I saw in trainers, without naming or targeting, but I saw in the private civilian space that people will invite a student to teach them. However, there are these some dark sides of things where if they see that student is very talented, last minute they can modify the information, right? But in a regulated course, this can never happen
Never
because you are the top boss of what curriculum goes.
Absolutely.
If I am the instructor, for example, who is
Yes.
teaching, if I see that student is talented, my personal agenda cannot come into play and I teach him some wrong system.
Definitely.
However, in private teachers,
Yes.
private mentors, I saw a lot of young guys lives and careers misled and taken to a wrong direction, because if someone अगर कोई बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा ट्रेनिंग करने लगा, तो मुझे ऐसा लगने लगेगा कि अरे ये तो मेरे से आगे ही निकल जाएगा, इनसिक्योरिटी और थ्रेट हो जाएगा, एंड अब मैं उनको गलत चीजें सिखाने, गलत डायरेक्शन या पर्सनल फेवर्स में, या फिर उनको कुछ और ही, बिकॉज अब वो मेरी गाइडेंस ब्लाइंडली लेने लगा है, राइट, आंख बंद करके, तो अब मैं उन्हें कुछ भी बोलूंगा वो सुनेंगे. सो दिस काइंड ऑफ ट्रस्ट इफ आई हैड टू गिव टू अ सीनियर प्राइवेट ट्रेनर, a lot of times I saw those guys to breach that trust because of that threat or insecurity that क्या पता ये मेरे से आगे ना निकल जाए, क्या पता उसे मुझसे आगे वो ना आ जाए. So this is one thing that you are able to change by having a nationalized curriculum, and whatever I am able to give in terms of a guest contribution or even in your journals or your magazine, I would love to. I'm building my own system called CRP, which is for the Indian dogs to transform their behavior. So I would love to help out, especially the government officials, because they do not have the same kind of liquidity or affordability or the kind of savings to pay for international courses and international teachers. So you learned everything, got it to them almost for free, for minimal costing. So that changes the game, because in India the major population is not able to afford the international quality of education. Now the other thing where I wanted to give my 2 cents, that whoever is feeling कि ये तो पुलिस के लिए है, इससे मेरा क्या होगा, honestly having a nationalized certification on your career is a feather on your cap, just like a school college degree. We have trainers जो कि school से ही भाग के फिर dogs में लग गए, या college किया है अब. So now I am able to bring in my courses people who are MBAs, lawyers, doctors, pilots, to not even leave that but pursue this parallelly as a profession. So if somebody who has a basic qualification, like I believe 12th is the minimum eligibility. So if somebody is as at least past 12th, and अगर उन्हें प्राइवेट ट्रेनर भी बनना हो, कमर्शियली प्राइवेट पेट डॉग ट्रेनर बनना हो, एंड कमिंग फॉर समवन हु इज टीचिंग ट्रेनर्स and building a private training institute, I would any day hire that person who's graduated from that, right? Instead of me going and checking कि अच्छा आप अपनी WhatsApp video दिखाइए किसके साथ काम किया है, कैसे काम किया है. If they come with this degree, they will automatically get a quick route into my company and to become an international trainer where they can be deployed in Dubai, in New Zealand, anywhere, and they will get my recommendation.
Even we are getting a lot of requests from overseas countries from the trainers and the kennels, where they are asking that these qualified people just send
Give
them.
us graduates,
So
yeah.
we can guarantee 100% placement for those people who are doing this course.
Absolutely.
And very rightly said, the minimum qualification is 12th with 3 years experience.
3 years work experience.
So that they can start understanding what we are talking.
They should know at least how to handle a dog.
Handle the dog.
Yeah.
And or otherwise, if you are a graduate, then you can straight away join without any prior experience.
Okay.
So a lot of graduates are coming who are passionate about the subject, to learn about it, and our effort is to empower them.
Correct.
So we are not discriminating with them. There have been instances when the police dog handlers and trainers who are undergoing this course, they come and tell me, whisper in my ear, sir, why are you teaching them
Civilians.
explosive detection or drug detection? This is our field. Why are you? So I told them, please, it is a method we are training. And I can tell through this platform to all the viewers that once you undergo this course, there is no way, nothing, that you cannot train with the help of dog.
Right.
Because what we are teaching is the concepts.
Right.
Once you understood the principles and concepts by preparing ED dogs or drug dogs or cadaver detection dogs or arson detection, you can prepare any customized dogs to meet your requirement.
Absolutely.
Because now you understood the principles.
Correct.
Even in police also, I can say so, that every organization has its own things. So they will not reveal.
Oh, of course.
So when I joined the MH's Police K9 cell, my biggest shout out was, there is no secret in this secret. So just open up, share your experiences.
Absolutely.
That's where the journals and the seminars, they started happening. Otherwise, there were instances when they will not reveal a single thing about their organization.
Correct.
And we are preparing dog in a very secretive manner.
Yeah,
Confidentiality and all that. There's no secret in this secret.
Correct, yeah.
We are ready to share everything with you, empower you, so that you are confident and in this dog training arena and can do whatever you wish to do.
Right.
You want to give wings to your dreams.
Absolutely.
That is our simple.
Absolutely. Even for private trainers, I'll tell you from a customer's perspective that if a pet parent also, for basic dog training and behavior modification, when they're looking for a trainer and they would like to see someone's credentials or someone's qualification, if they know that the student has been trained by someone as established as yourself, with curriculum and with an institution,
Yes.
the pet parent knows that they know how to train a dog.
Exactly.
और ये पेट रेजिंग तो उनके लिए बहुत बेसिक सी हो गई कि पालना कैसे है, टॉयलेट हैबिट्स कहाँ रखना है, खींचता है, कूदता है. They will get clients in any part of the world once they have passed this course, and it's not that सिर्फ आपको पुलिस डॉग्स में ही अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी या सिर्फ पुलिस डॉग्स को ही चर्न करना है. This is just the stepping stone which is now finally launched in India for current trainers, but most especially aspiring trainers who are today in 8th, 9th, 10th standard. They know कि भाई 12th करके आप अपने पेरेंट्स को बोलिए कि नहीं मुझे डॉग ट्रेनर बनना है, अब ये कोर्स सामने है, इसके बाद मैं ये करूँगा. So you have given an aspiration to the youth, before I my closing will be more about what the youth should do to get more into this space. But one more thing that was popping in my head about this similar concept of confidentiality without targeting anyone from my our collective fraternity, that a lot because of this lack of regulation अभी तक इंडिया में क्या हो रहा था, that मैं आपके घर पे आके डोरबेल बजा के बोल सकता हूँ कि आई एम अ डॉग ट्रेनर अगर मेरे पास एक ट्रीट पाउच है, बिस्किट है, लीश है, एंड यू विल हैव टू बिलीव इट ऑन फेस वैल्यू. राइट, मे बी आपका डॉग लेके जोर जोर से बोलूंगा सेट या डाउन या कुछ भी बोलूंगा, एंड यू विल हैव टू ट्रस्ट मी कि यार इसे मुझसे ज्यादा ट्रेनिंग आती है. तो हमने मतलब कस्टमर्स को भी अंधेरे में रखा हुआ था, पेट पेरेंट्स को एक तरह से. द अदर थिंग दैट आई वांटेड टू पॉइंट आउट इज दैट देयर वाज दिस ह्यूज वेव, अब तो नहीं है चलिए, बट व्हेन आई हैड स्टार्टेड बैक इन 2014, 15, 16, 17 kind of a time, that people would write on their visiting card 18 years army experience, 17 years army experience. एंड तब मैं चलिए यंग था तो मुझे लगा कि 18 साल से डॉग ही ट्रेन कर रहे हैं. देन स्लोली आई फिगर्ड आउट दैट 18 years they have served in the army. Out of those few years they have been given a trained dog to handle. So क्या होता है कि that was also a little when they went into that private and they gave their visiting card to a pet parent, someone who has served for a long time, they are not being very clear of the fact कि सारे टाइम उन्होंने डॉग ही ट्रेन किया है? डू दे नो हाउ टू क्रिएट एंड मॉडिफाई अ बिहेवियर, और हैज अ सीनियर गिवन देम अ ट्रेन डॉग टू टेक केयर ऑफ, लाइक बीइंग अ हैंडलर, लाइक पी करा रहे हैं, वॉक करा रहे हैं, डिप्लॉय कर रहे हैं, स्निफ कर रहे हैं, सब कर रहे हैं, बट वहां तक पहुंचने की ट्रेनिंग होती है, और फिर एक हैंडलर होता है डिप्लॉय करने वाला. सो आई ऑब्जर्व दैट एनीवन हु इज रिटायरिंग फ्रॉम द फोर्सेज बिफोर यू स्टार्टेड चेंजिंग द सीन, दे स्टार्टेड टेकिंग प्राइवेट ट्रेनिंग केसेस एंड दे स्टार्टेड लर्निंग ऑन द जॉब, बिकॉज पेट्स तो देखे नहीं है उन्होंने, पेट बिहेवियर इश्यूज देखी नहीं है. उन्हें जॉब एक क्लाइंट मिल जाएगा ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ के अरे हमने एक आर्मी ट्रेनर लगाया हुआ है, वो आर्मी में थे पहले, या एक फोर्सेस की ट्रेनर लगाया हुआ है. तो आई स्टिल हियर दैट अ लॉट इन मिनिस्टर्स, इन HNIs, इन प्राइवेट प्लेसेस, दैट उनके फार्म हाउस पे एक फॉर्मर फोर्सेस से एक ट्रेनर आते हैं, बट यू नो अ लॉट ऑफ डैमेज गॉट डन एज वेल. आई विल बी वेरी ब्लंट इन दैट स्पेस ऑफ 1960s force based training, you know, coming out in that private space. So that thing you have changed in big time, that even someone retiring from the forces,
Yes.
I would urge them, you know, कि वो आते ही एक forensics and you know diploma करके and whatever next course of action है वो भी formally इस education में जाएं, not just relying on the fact कि 15 years हमने एक Labrador, German Shepherd या Belgian Shepherd को raise किया है, because पेट पेरेंट इंडस्ट्री में जो कि बिहेवियर इश्यूज और चैलेंजेस हैं, दे आर ऑल्सो गेटिंग मोर एंड मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स, यू नो. सो आई वुड अर्ज पीपल ऑन दैट फ्रंट के everyone should come into this without thinking कि मेरा इसमें क्या
So there
मिलेगा.
is another advantage of this diploma course, and that's our objective with the government of India. We've been in conversation that today, if police organization has to recruit a nursing assistant, they ask for diploma nursing assistant.
Right.
If they have to hire a communication expert, they look for diploma or degree communication. If they have to hire a health professional, there is a health prerequisites which are needed. For a dog training, there is nothing. So now we are trying to make a system that if you have to recruit dog handlers, dog trainers, look for Diploma Canine Forensics.
Canine holder,
so he's a
certified guy.
qualified guy. So
Correct.
the students which will pass through this diploma will have an opportunity to join their state police organization in their hometown,
Wow.
in their home state. So the government is going to give preference to them
Right.
when it comes to recruitment of the
Posting.
dog trainers and dog handlers. Then once you are qualified, you can support your police organizations. They can definitely take formal, informal assistance from you with your background in this field, because our state organizations, they definitely need a lot of attention, a lot of
Correct.
help, and they whatever number of professionals we train, they would be less to
Correct.
meet in next decade or so.
For the demand that is out
because we definitely need a lot of support.
Right.
So from that point of view, this course is a game changer, and you can continue pursuing your career in this specialized field too, because now there are medical detections, there are
Right.
therapy dogs.
Correct.
So we are touching all these aspects in our course, so that when you go out, you can start your own enterprise.
Correct.
You can support police organizations. You can go abroad.
Correct.
There are a lot of recruitment agencies, international immigration agencies have approached me.
They're asking you for
They
the
are
people.
asking
Yeah.
that there is a huge demand for this kind of professional set.
Give us the certified handler.
Plus a certified thing. So
Correct.
earlier they say that people used to come to us but without any formal qualification.
Correct.
But now since this is there, so if you can, divert your students towards us,
Absolutely.
we would love to place them.
ये आपने बहुत ही important बात बोली है कि you know people are able to you know get placement. So अगर किसी को वो agenda भी ना हो कि अरे मैं कुछ सीख सकता हूँ, lot of times people have that you know bias कि अरे हमें तो सब आ गया है
Yes,
YouTube
yes.
से और बाहर से और
Even I'm
हमारे गुरु
learning to
से
date, every day we are trying to read
Correct.
articles and understand, experiment.
Right.
Every day is a learning.
Correct.
When you interact with another trainer, you definitely learn few things
Exactly.
which are developed by him.
Exactly.
So it is
Exactly.
like a great learning.
And so more than that, if somebody thinks that they already know everything,
That's the
it's the end always. But even then, this course is like a stepping stone, that if you're not getting a job, then automatically you'll go through the placement journey.
Yes.
Because I have so many applicants who are messaging me saying, okay, I cannot afford your course, for example, but I need, here's my portfolio, I worked with dogs, here's some videos with dogs, अब मेरी placement आप कहीं यूरोप में या कहीं करा दीजिए. Through that entitlement कि आप तो करा ही देंगे. But I'm like, what how should I speak for you? How should I back you up? Either you are trained under me and I'll say, okay, he knows my system, or you have gone through a centralized entity and I can say, okay, there is a government entity for it. Just by a CV and a training video, how do I go and show my face, to international academies and say, okay, just take this guy basically.
Definitely.
So this is building credibility in Indian dog trainers.
Yes.
Somebody is not growing in their career. They think they know everything. They are great on Facebook. They have great dogs. They have great students, but they're not making it successful in their career financially or professionally. The placements in itself will open a new avenue for them that they don't even know about.
Definitely.
So sir, I mean, moving to a little more on the private space, let's talk a little bit about civilian dog trainers, non-police, non-army dog trainers that you have seen in the past 30 years. What has the journey been? What are your, cold hard opinions and advice to what is happening in India? Because it's very unregulated and unmodulated. You and I are still more on, close to ground कि we will always be students. We don't have that barrier कि हमें सब आता है अब हम सिर्फ सिखाएंगे. But जिस industry में हम हैं, because it's so unregulated, I'm trying to clean up a bit on the private space. You're trying to, organize it bit on the government space. But what has your experience been working and interacting with private non-forces trainers in the last 30 odd years, and where would you like to see India to go on the private side? For security तो हमने काफी बात करी, but private side में आपको opinion लेना चाहूँगा थोड़ा.
In fact, this subject is a subject which only your passion can drive it. So if you are passionate and you want to pursue your dream, then I think by this way or that way you will keep chasing your dream.
Absolutely.
So in private sector, I definitely see some good trainers which are like working individually exceedingly well, but at the same time, as you have told, there are constraints on their side. And as we say in world, also true for the India, that the only two trainer will only agree on one occasion when they disagree with the third one. So this is definitely affecting us as well.
Obviously.
And I would like to have that bonhomie among all the professionals, but yes, the background and things do matter at the end of the day. And I truly appreciate your contribution in transforming this entire subject in the pet space. The K9 school has really led in a great way, and I must say it in an aggressive way to bring transformations and tell people that what they need and how pets can be really made a good companion in your house.
Correct.
And it's more about training the owners as well.
Absolutely.
Because when they learn, they value and they can correct and they can help out the dog.
Correct.
Because we cannot look everything from our perspective.
Right.
You have to start learning to look from the dog's perspective.
Right.
So then things would automatically change. So I really appreciate your contributions on that field.
Thank you.
You have inspired hundreds of trainers, and they are doing at different places in the country. And definitely I wish you that you'll continue to do this. There are other trainers also, they are making their bit, and I'm sure they would play their role. Dog sport has come in a big way now.
Correct.
That's again a positive thing. For me, when I look with my background and experience, I look towards the trainers to really contribute on a front where green dogs can be prepared by them.
Correct.
And they can be supplied to the police organization. So through your media, I would love to even announce to start a
Program.
dog cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Because under the Ministry of Cooperatives, I would love to start and lead a dog cooperative. And I would invite the trainers to come and approach me so that we can empanel you and we can start a dog cooperative. And you can prepare dogs, and we assure you their placement with the police organizations.
Right.
So these would be the green dogs. So you breed them, you train them up to 9 months age, 9 to 12 months. And between 9 to 12 months, there's a already canine behavior assessment test which we have developed in the Ministry of Home Affairs. Through that, we are going to give you scores, and those which are crossing the scores, achieving the benchmarks, can be placed into the police organization.
Amazing.
So this is one way where your energy can be better channelized. And if you really feel that you are an exceptional trainer, then do come and prepare your dogs and
Absolutely.
show the worth and
Correct.
give it to the police organizations. It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
So that way, perhaps we can learn with each other and we can contribute towards the national security, which is the
Absolutely.
topmost objective for all of us.
Correct. So this was one thing that I saw all across Europe as well, that any trainer who would, trust their skill, they would start building up the dogs, and then they would take them to the police institutes and academies and show their dogs. And if they pass or fail, accordingly they get placed.
Yes.
So that would be, besides the sale and the money coming and everything,
Exactly.
maybe that's not, that should never be the priority with livestock and passion and vision. But more than that, it comes from inside, that a dog that was raised by me is now fighting on
in
the
the-
front
absolutely.
line, fighting on the border.
Yes.
Maybe one day they'll save the lives of a civilian or a minister or a
Yes,
specialist or something, that they are putting themselves. It's almost as if a part of me is on
Yes,
the front line.
definitely.
Like, if I got the opportunity to
Definitely.
be able to do that. One more thing that you had mentioned, which I didn't raise, is that अगर मैं aspiring वो हूँ डिफेंस फोर्स में, कि अगर मुझे पुलिस अकेडमी में किसी वजह से नहीं होता है हाइट या फिटनेस, एनडीए में किसी वजह से नहीं होता है हाइट या फिटनेस, सो वन मोर लिटिल जेम दैट यू हैव सेड इज कि मैं डॉग ट्रेनिंग कोर्स करके
Yes.
आई विल अप्लाई टू द पुलिस एंड डिफेंस
Yes,
अकेडमी एज द असिस्टेंट ट्रेनर, सीनियर ट्रेनर or
Yes.
whatever department is there, and I get that position.
Yes,
Maybe not
definitely.
through the NDA, but
Yes.
through the course itself, I'm back into the government element,
We have
which you
placed-
have opened a window again. Like,
We have placed consultants, the dog training consultants, with the state police organizations.
Imagine.
So if you are you are at an age when you don't meet out to join the regular police organization, you can come as an advisory or consultation role or a support role. So the organizations are willing. We have placed many of them which are doing and supporting the state police organizations. That's where definitely after doing this course, you definitely have a bigger role to play.
Correct.
And it would definitely add value to your these things, whatever you little know, but this set of knowledge is definitely going to help you in a big way.
Right.
We have also I would like to speak about the small initiative which we have again taken, because as I told you, I've always worked on the systematic changes.
Right.
So one issue which I always face, that the dog training equipments.
Correct.
So currently, or whatever, like I have worked, we've all been importing dog equipments from abroad.
Correct.
But with the Honorable Prime Minister's mission of Make in India, Startup India, the ecosystem is so mature that, why don't we make all these equipments in India?
Yeah, correct.
So I could inspire some of the technical graduates
Wow.
who came across during development of certain equipments for different purposes in NSG and Army. So we could tell them that I need this. I help them, so they developed. So I asked them, why don't you create a enterprise? I would help you. I will mentor you and guide you how to prepare this equipment, that. So they have established an enterprise, Armored K9.
Right.
And their endeavor is to develop all these equipments indigenously and provide them at 1/4, 1/5 of the cost, matching to these global standards.
Wow.
So this is what I am sure in time to come is going to bridge the gap, because today if you have to import a bite suit or a
Right.
bite sleeve or a harness or a camera systems or anything for that matter, you have to spend, in foreign currency.
Double the cost.
Yeah.
Plus the import duties
And
and
the
the
import
transportation.
duty, hassles,
everything.
and you'll have to wait for a long period.
Correct.
So these guys are going to prepare those equipments. Through my YouTube channel, I'm trying to promote being vocal for local, which which our Honorable Prime Minister has always said. So that we can tell people that these are available right
Absolutely.
over here with the Indian imprint. Why don't you use it,
Right.
and be vocal about it and spread the message
So
further?
we'll do our best, not just from our channel, but from our community and our pages, to enhance all of the startups, just like ourselves, that you've been mentoring in the past few years. Whether it's Armored K9, a lot of startups in the medical detection and defense side as well. A pet school, I keep coming to you with ideas and inputs and advice. So like you've been a massive leader or guide, or guiding light, not just to individual trainers, but even startups and businesses and ventures who want to build and bring about change into the country. And as you rightly mentioned, like costing and budgets was a big factor for us as a trainer, that in order to learn, first you travel abroad, spend the training fees and the travel and stay. So मतलब 20-25 लाख तो आपने spend कर ही दिया. Maybe it's not even that perfect school that's working out for you. So only a very small cohort of people are able to travel abroad and save money and spend that and come. Similar for equipment, that if I buy something in Spain, for example, bite suit will cost me 1 lakh. But by the time it comes here, the customs and the costing and the transport, double the cost basically. So and if you are saying that if we are now slowly starting to make in India, there will be no shipment, the margin will reduce and the costing will come down so much that anyone who's aspiring there, it will become affordable and accessible for them. So one more thing I want to ask, coming once back to the defense part, that defense के भी जो budgets की allocation होती थी, वो भी उस basis पे priorities पे ही होती थी, right? So back in let's say 60s, when somebody went to learn training, they came back, it would have been such a difficult journey for them to convince के please आप थोड़ा सा budgets जो है dogs के खाने पीने equipment में allocate कीजिए. वो एक दौर था. फिर अब एक ऐसा फेज आया where you came into the picture in the last 2-3 decades, and it must have been a struggle for you also to, not because we are short of budgets or short of priorities or anything, but India is such a vast country, dangers are looming from all the borders, we are trying to feed the jawans all the top supplements and everything. So dog in general has been a low priority species. So tell us about your difficulties in first increasing the budgets for our canines, and secondly now you are reducing the costing of the things available ताकि कम से कम बजट में, एक तो बजट बढ़ाएं और उतने में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हम चीज़ें खरीद पाएं. तो कैसा रहा है आपका जर्नी on that front?
So this is a very interesting question you have asked. Definitely this was one of those challenges which even I didn't realize that I've struggled so much. So firstly, on the old school training,
right,
you don't need many equipments, frankly, because and that's where the country, most of the organizations were training on old school, so their requirement of equipment was far too less, negligible, because you're just forcing and dominant based, aversion based training and this thing. But now with the modern concept,
but still they had to buy the dogs, they had to spend on procurement, so that also getting that past must have been a journey. So
then secondly, even when the dog procurement is happening, earlier there was no knowledge or awareness that what kind of dog is eventually needed for you.
Correct.
To elaborate further on this particular aspect, there was no standard of certification.
Correct.
So if I can more simplify, as a student, if you do not know that you have to score say 80% for your passing,
right,
then how will you aspire to achieve 80%? Right. So that thing was not there. So dog trained is a trained dog, but there was no annual certification standards.
Template,
So now during the MHA's Police Canine Cell, we have brought a SOP Aaklan.
Okay.
Aaklan is on the canine proficiency evaluation test. Okay. So there are standards. So they have to achieve more than 90% success. So if they have to succeed, the dog has to succeed 90% of the time. That means the dog should have that capability or that caliber.
Accuracy.
Now, to deliver at 90%, you have to go back when you are coming back to selection of puppy.
Correct.
So I have introduced another SOP, which is Canine Behavior Assessment Test, Canine BAT.
Okay.
So that will help you to pick up the right candidate. So this method has come in this entire madness, which was earlier a German Shepherd. Apparently German Shepherd, good enough for you. A Labrador, good enough for you. So now with the canine bat, the breed doesn't matter. It is the candidate which matters.
Right.
If he is delivering or he is performing, that means he is suitable. He is in. Rest are out. So this is a screening system which is now making you aware, and for that, the selection would be very stringent because you are picking up like earlier used to be complete litter is picked up. Now we've realized that it's not like human being in a family. Someone is interested in sports, someone is interested to become a doctor, someone is interested in music, someone is good in something else. So similarly, in a litter of puppy, they are all having different skills. So you have to now pick up that which is the best suitable for detection, best suitable for protection, or suitable for both.
Absolutely.
So accordingly, we are like bringing in the system.
Nice.
So with the modern concepts, you need a lot of equipments, a lot of quality dogs to achieve your end objective.
Right.
And earlier, since end objective was not fixed, so things were like fluid.
Right.
So now they have to go through this journey to deliver.
Right.
And that's what is like forcing us to develop indigenously equipment, provide them. Yes, budgeting is definitely a challenge because this is still a low priority area.
Yeah, but now they are listening to you.
Yes.
Slowly
So-
they are listening to you.
Yes. So the objective MHS Police Canine Cell, when we established, we decided our mission. So mission, if you carefully see, mainstreaming. The first word is mainstreaming. Mainstreaming and augmentation of police canine performance in the country.
Okay.
So that is our mission. So definitely the first part was mainstreaming. When we decided, we deliberated a lot on this, and our additional secretary, he told, yes, the first part is mainstream. This is still not being mainstream.
Obviously.
Yeah, so that's where we are trying more budgets, more focus, more attention, and luckily the current government is very positive on this. The Home Secretary was very positive on this. He has sanctioned a lot of breeding stocks to these organizations. They are in the process of acquiring them and ensuring the compliances of those SOPs.
Okay.
So I think this would definitely, in due course of time, would really be a different scenario,
Right.
and would be no less than any other international force.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that day, and it's not too far actually. It's just around the corner for us. So what was your work in the Home Ministry? Like, how did you move from the forces into the Home Ministry, and what was your work with them? And I think you closed in your retirement with working like directly with the administrations of the ministry and all. So what was your journey and experience like on that side? Like, and what is the Home Ministry responsible for in India? Like, what do they do?
Look, the Central Armored Police Forces, they are
CAPFs.
directly under the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Okay.
So we have 7 CAPFs, if we include NSG also as part of them. So the CRPF, BSF, ITBP, SSB, Assam Rifle, NSG, and CISF.
Can we run through the full forms also?
Yes,
Central
yes.
Reserve Police Force.
Yes, CRPF
Then-
is Central Reserve Police Force, BSF is Border Security Force, SSB is Sashastra Seema Bal,
right.
NSG is National Security Guard, Assam Rifle, and CISF is Central Industrial Security
Center.
Force.
And ITBP, which
ITBP is Indo-Tibetan
Indo-Tibetan
Border Police. Yes.
And of late, I think ITBP has also enhanced their K9 unit a
Yes,
lot
all of
more.
them. Like
Assam Rifle, that's good, correct.
Since they are all part of this MHA Police K9 cell, so
Okay.
our focus remained equally on all of them. So you try to modernize all of them, authorize more equipments, more dogs. In fact, there is an increase in the authorization of the dogs.
Okay.
We have authorized them the dog breeding stock
Okay.
exclusively to produce. So every organization, these major 3 organizations, they are now given a mandate to produce around 200 to 250 puppies every year.
Okay.
So that's going to really meet their requirement.
Obviously.
And we've authorized earlier, the travel of dog was not authorized by AC first class or
Okay.
by air.
Okay.
So when we were there, so we could be
Dog which is a Jawan, basically.
Yes.
So-
for any movement of the dog,
Abo first
now
class
we have
will like
authorized
it,
everything.
All access.
AC first class,
Okay.
by air, fixed wing, rotor wing, by
Okay.
ship or by taxi, whatever.
Okay.
Like
And they get a position and
Yes.
the ID and ranking
Yes.
and everything.
And
Wow.
then we authorized them the post-retirement life.
Okay.
So they are authorized the food, their shelter, their attention.
Correct.
So we've given them, even we've tried to engage the retired dogs as therapy dogs.
Okay, wow.
So for emotional support.
Right.
So otherwise, like once they retire, their focus remains less.
Obviously.
So they are like aloof. So to still give them a life.
Activity and
Yeah. So
everything.
those which are fitting into those mandated requirements, they
Right.
can be brought into as a therapy dog to give emotional support
Wow.
to the ailing patients and those
Amazing.
recovering.
So this was another program that had come. So we have this not-for-profit foundation called Canine Healers Foundation,
Yes.
which we are trying to do a little on the civilian front, like therapy dogs for autistic people. But I had a lot of visions and programs for people in defense, which again, like we'll enhance. We'll sit it together on. But one thing was that all of the officials who are retiring, the human officials who are retiring, and the dogs who are retiring, we can also work together on a program that matches them, that you retire with a retired dog and you have a pet companion for life, for example. Similarly, I am also working on a program where anyone who is taking a leave or sabbatical from the forces, to help them enhance their, what exactly now you're doing with the curriculum, to help them enhance their career and get their placement. So a program that we can work directly in tandem with the defense, that post retirement, how your career and how your financial support can come through the private dog training space. Maybe you come out, you do these few little things, apply to this company, and automatically your journey will become a lot bigger. Instead of retire hoke, then they're going door to door and killing their prestige by doing that freelance appeal. Go up, customers will not be happy. So kind of consolidating them into a place where जैसे ही आप यहाँ से निकलते हैं, private space में भी there is some foundation or some NGO working on, building that spectrum. Similarly, like you're saying that earlier dogs were not considered post retirement. After 8 years, we had to really figure out where they were going, what was being done, and plus it wasn't a priority on spending for their food and medicine. जब एक बार उनका काम हो जाता है, wasn't authorized. And so this is something very great, that as soon as now NGOs like ourselves and many others take the retired army and police dogs and get them into placement. So a lot more can be done on that front.
Yes.
As the forces also work with us regularly, we can go and check the health, the let's say retired from medical reasons, retired from other reasons. Similarly, people retired from other reasons, and we can create a program to match them together. So these ideas keep coming into my head as well. So I'm always very, very delighted and grateful to bounce them off of you and get inputs. And you always been extremely supportive in my career journey and trajectory all across as well. So so overall, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for your time, for your wealth of knowledge. And this is just a start. The first was obviously more centric towards your journey. Slowly, hopefully, whenever we get a chance, I know you have a very, very busy schedule setting up the nation's K9 program, so that I can go to France, Germany, Holland, and Israel and say I'm from Indian K9 trainer and everything. So really, really grateful for you to come in and join our first podcast in this journey. We'll have a lot more deeper conversations on specific topics with you as we get an opportunity. So 2 things as we close. One is that has been quite a lingering concept, that both of us are wearing this emblem called K9. So CANINE, K9 comes from Canis lupus familiaris, which is a scientific name. My company is also called K9 School. My foundation is called K9 Healers. Now all of the police units are also called K9 unit, right? So एक बार viewers के लिए आप बताते हैं कि ये K9 word से K9 कैसे आया, होता क्या है, हम लोग कितना use क्यों करते हैं?
It's basically a homophone. Right. So canine is a biological name, zoological name, which you have said CANINE.
Right.
So the homophone of canine is K9, which more symbolizes the food police and working forces. So it symbolizes military, police, and working dogs. So they are called as K9. That's where we are more into the canines, and I consider them soldiers. So definitely, I treat them with equal regards.
Absolutely.
And if someone says, I'm very particular. If someone calls them kutta, so I take offense of it, and I always So he is a K9. Or he's a K9 officer,
right? Or
he's even if you want to call in a Hindi, he's a Shwan.
Fauji, Shwan.
Yeah. So in our language also, we've tried to modernize. In fact, NSG's dog unit earlier was called it a dog unit. Now we are calling it NSG K9.
Right.
So this is these are small little things which inspire and create positive environment and motivate the.
I believe it came from the USA SWAT teams. The first time they had coined was USA Police, maybe.
So it's difficult to track exactly that, but definitely these are the internationally agreed, acronym. K9 is for this. In fact, one thing, as I told you, small things motivate people. In MHA's police K9 cell, when I was there, so we have given in a badge,
right?
Police K9 badge
Okay.
to the police dog handlers and trainers. So that this is one of those first, different kind of like badge approved by the Ministry of Home Affairs, so that the people can wear on their uniform.
Okay, wow.
So it's designed with their dog's face and police K9,
Wow.
and so that you can identify yourself through that K9 and contribute towards. These are small little gestures. We have even tried that those who are successful in the police operation should be given out of turn promotion, or some financial remunerations, additional incentives to look after the dogs. So all those things are still under consideration, and I'm sure things would definitely come in a positive way because of the positive environment which is prevailing as of now. So I'm sure things would definitely improve.
Right. So thanks for the explanation, because K9, alphabet K and number 9 has become a very commonly used, prefix or suffix in the private training space as well. That in fact, my own Instagram handle is Adnaan K9 at the end. So it has become like a relatable thing कि कोई भी dog trainer को आप वो नाम के आगे K9 लगा के आगे या पीछे जैसे भी K9 लगा के आप पहचान जाएंगे कि वो this K and number 9 automatically means that they are into the dog training space. So this terminology has actually come from the defense side and the forces, which is now being taken into the private space. So as we wrap up, I think one final closing statement that you can give to the youth who will be watching this for as the time commences, who want to get into this space of first, obviously, because of where you started, the first credit and grace goes to the defense forces. So who want to get into the first, obviously, veterinary line, then who want to get into defense forces, most importantly, because I am a dog trainer, who want to get into this career of dog training, grooming, veterinary, and they want to tell their parents at 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th standard when society asked them कि आगे जाके क्या बनोगे, what do you want to be, and there were those 4 common jobs that everyone would say so that they impress the uncles and aunties out there. But I want the 5th graders and the 8th graders to say कि नहीं dog trainer बनेंगे and वो सामने वाले से भी उतना ही हम कमा लेंगे, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है basically. So
I would definitely, more than youth, I would tell the parents,
right,
please open up the horizon for your child if he wants to become a dog trainer. And there is an opportunity. There is a formal education system. There is an ecosystem which is prevailing in the country, and there are plethora of opportunities. In fact, this industry is growing at a speed which is unparalleled with any other field. So you must allow your child to come, and for youth to come and join, but be focused from where you are learning, what you are learning. So empower yourself by the formal knowledge, and then chase the dream which you are there. We are always there. Anytime someone can drop me or email or Adnaan, we are always willing to help out the people, those who want to genuinely interested in this subject. We would love to help you, support you, hold your hand and take you further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this entire, detailed conversation that we have. And I look forward to all of your contributions in the future as well. All the students that you're creating, all the impact that you're building, all the new equipment and systems that you're bringing to India, and whatever little I can do from my side with my systems, my dogs, my students, I'm always there. But I'm more excited to send my students, my training, my aspiring trainers and my team members to come and learn from your, curriculums and your programs and get as many insights as possible. So this was again for the viewers, this was more of a personal podcast, but we will be doing a lot of detailed informative content from with you as well as and when time permits. So we are looking forward to exploring a lot and covering a lot of your journey on our channel in the future as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for calling me and hosting me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Pleasure.
Okay, sir, one experience if you can share in Hindi about a K9 combating in a situation on a mission.
Okay.
Like the most impressive performance.
So then we'll take a small video.
We'll do a small bit.
Acha, Hindi, purely Hindi.
Yeah, this would be like.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can ask some successful operation.
I'll ask the question. Let's do 1 or 2, then we'll be able to break them down. Maybe 2.
Yeah.
सो सर एक सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ मैं पूछना चाहता था कि आपके दिल के करीब एक या दो सबसे फेवरेट K9 यूनिट ऑपरेशंस जिसमें डॉग जो था वो सुपर हीरो निकल के आया, हमारी उनके उस डॉग के आसपास जो सराउंडिंग ह्यूमंस थे उनके ट्रेनिंग सिस्टम्स और प्लान्स और प्रोटोकॉल्स की वजह से, बट वो डॉग ने एक बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट किया एंड आप उसका हिस्सा थे, आपने उसकी प्लानिंग भी की और आपके दिल के जो सबसे करीब रहे हैं वो बेसिकली।
देखिए मेरी सर्विस जो वैली के अंदर रही, हमने बहुत ऑपरेशंस ऑन मंथली बेसिस वी हैड लाइक काफ़ी ऑपरेशंस, हम इसमें सफल ऑपरेशंस देखे, हमने कई ऑपरेशन से कुछ सीखा। तो सारे ऑपरेशंस अपने आप में एक यूनिक हैं, बट एक ऑपरेशन ऐसा है जिसको मैं कभी भूल नहीं पाता, दैट वाज विद द हेल्प ऑफ डॉग, जो मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया, दिव्या। तो इसका हमें एक न्यूज़ मिली जिसके अंदर एक किसी पर्टिकुलर हाउस या रेजिडेंशियल एरिया था जहाँ पे बॉम्ब्स होने के चांस थे या कैशे के चांस थे, इस तरह से इनपुट्स थे। तो उसको सर्च करने के लिए पूरी टीम गई, उसमें दिव्या और उसके जो डॉग हैंडलर है ही वाज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ दैट। तो वो जो एरिया सर्च कर रहे थे, बिल्डिंग सर्च करने के बाद में जब वो पीछे की तरफ ओपन एरिया था जो रियर साइड में था, तो वहाँ पे कर रहे थे, तो इट वाज लाइक 1 आवर 1.5 आवर्स, तो कुछ मिला नहीं उनको। तो जो कमांडिंग ऑफिसर थे बटालियन के, उन्होंने बोला कि चलिए कॉल ऑफ करिए, कुछ नहीं है, NFA नथिंग इज़ फाउंड हेयर, सो लेट्स क्लोज द मिशन। सो जब वो क्लोजिंग की बात कर रहे थे तो डॉग हैंडलर जो थे उसको अपने डॉग के साथ में, बिकॉज जब भी डॉग कुछ उसको पॉजिटिव मिलता है तो देयर इज़ ऑलवेज चेंज ऑफ बिहेवियर, तो बॉडी लैंग्वेज उसकी बदलती है, तो उसको कुछ पॉजिटिव उसमें दिखा, तो उसने ये इनिशिएटिव लिया कमांडिंग ऑफिसर के पास जाके कि सर थोड़ी देर अगर हमें और दे दी जाए तो हम थोड़ा सर्च करना चाहते हैं। सबसे पहले तो ये अपने आप में यूनिक है, क्योंकि बहुत कम ऐसा होता है कि जब कमांडिंग ऑफिसर क्लोज करने की बात कह दे तो उसके बाद कोई अगर जवान आके ये बात बोले कि सर हमें थोड़ा और टाइम और चाहिए, जो कि बहुत बड़ा इनिशिएटिव है और उसको हमने इस बात के लिए बहुत अप्रिशिएट भी किया। एनीवे कमांडिंग ऑफिसर जनरली इस तरह के चीज़ों को भी अप्रिशिएट करते हैं, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि मेरी टीम ने ही ये सब सक्सेस लेके आना है। सो उन्होंने बोला ठीक है आप करिए। तो डॉग जो दिव्या थी उसके साथ में उन्होंने पीछे एरिया जहाँ पे चेंज ऑफ बिहेवियर मिल रहा था, वहाँ पे किचन गार्डन था, तो उस किचन गार्डन में एक पर्टिकुलर जगह पे जाके उसने इंडिकेशन दिया सिट्स की पोजीशन से। तो हैंडलर भी एकदम से भौचक्का रह गया और बाकी लोग भी सोच ही नहीं सकते थे, क्योंकि किचन गार्डन में ब्रिंजल की खेती थी, बैंगन लगे हुए थे, इतने पौधे थे कि बैंगन की फल थे उसके अंदर। तो जनरली इस तरह की जब बात है, इसका मतलब कि महीना 1.5 महीने की तो कम से कम पुरानी खेती रही होगी जो फल भी है उसके ऊपर। तो नोबडी कुड एवर इमेजिन, उनको लगा सब ये गलत इंडिकेशन कर रहे हैं और टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। तो CEO ने भी बोला कि अरे ये यहाँ क्या होगा, तो कहते नहीं सर मेरे डॉग ने यहाँ इंडिकेशन दिया है। तो अगर हैंडलर कंक्लूसिवली कहता है इंडिकेशन, तो उसके बाद एक फॉलो अप एक्शन है जो कि करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो उन्होंने एनीवे बोला कि ठीक है, तो देन उनको कॉर्डन करके और उसको डिगिंग शुरू की। टू एवरीवन सरप्राइज देयर वाज ए बैरल विद द लिड, जो अपने प्लास्टिक के बैरल्स आते हैं जो ऑयल वाले, उनके ऊपर लिड होता है, उस लिड के अंदर 2 टेररिस्ट की पूरी यूनिफॉर्म, वेपन्स, ग्रेनेड, ammunition, everything was kept in that thing. Wow. And it was on that barrel जिसको लिड से बंद किया हुआ था, और उसके ऊपर किचन गार्डन जिसके ऊपर बैंगन की खेती हो रही। तो ये मैं सोच ही नहीं सकता और मेरे जीवन में कि डॉग्स इस हद तक, मतलब इट वॉज नॉट ए ड्राई सॉइल। जनरली जब सॉइल इज ड्राई देन वी एक्सपेक्ट द ऑर्डर टू कम आउट। दिस वॉज ए वेट फील्ड, कल्टिवेटेड फील्ड, जिसके अंदर से ऑर्डर डॉग को मिल रही थी।
बहुत मुश्किल है,
तो
सब्जियां, फर्टिलाइजर एंड एवरीथिंग।
सो इतना चैलेंजिंग सिनेरियो में जब वो डॉग ने सक्सेस दिया, दैट वाज रियली रिमार्केबल। और जो CEO का, अगर मैं हमारी यूनिट में वो DO लेटर आज भी पढ़ा होगा, अप्रिसिएशन लेटर, जो उसने वो पूरी डिटेल्स लिखी उस पत्र के अंदर और बताया कि ये देखिए किस तरह से, और मेरे जीवन का ये ऐसा एग्जाम्पल है। उसने खुद कहा, और उस डॉग को, डॉग हैंडलर को चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ कमेंडेशन भी मिला इस कार्य के लिए, और उसकी प्रशंसा भी हुई। लेकिन ये बहुत मेमोरेबल एक मेरा एक्सपीरियंस रहेगा जो मैं कभी भूल नहीं सकता।
एब्सोल्युटली। एक तो हैंडलर का इंस्टिंक्ट ऐसा कि वो अपने डॉग को पूरी तरह से ट्रस्ट करता है।
Yes.
ये नहीं है कि अरे ये कुछ गलत बता रही है और
Yes.
गलत फहमी है, चलो डॉग को गाड़ी में डाल के ले जाए।
Yes.
सबकी कमांड के अगेंस्ट जाके भी बोलना कि नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि इसको कुछ पता है जो आप लोग को नहीं पता है।
Yes.
और इंसिस्ट करना, उसके लिए खड़ा रहना, तो दैट हैंडलर डेफिनेटली डिजर्व दैट कमेंडेशन। एंड ऑनेस्टली ये जो सिनेरियो आप मेरे को बता रहे हैं, ये जो भी उन्होंने टेररिस्ट का सारा सामान ढूंढा, बिना डॉग के ढूंढ ही नहीं सकते थे।
ढूंढ ही नहीं सकते,
राइट।
इम्पॉसिबल।
इज दिस इन इटसेल्फ प्रूव्स के हमारे डिफेंस में, सिक्योरिटी में कुछ ऑपरेशंस हैं जो अगर डॉग आ जाए तो डॉग कुछ ऐसी चीजें कर सकते हैं जो कोई भी इंसान, कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी, कोई भी माइंडसेट कर ही नहीं पाएगा आज की डेट में बेसिकली।
इसी तरह एक और चैलेंज जो मैंने आपको बताया, एक इस तरह का चैलेंज आता था। जनरली क्या होता है कि टेररिस्ट जब गांव के अंदर, वैली के अंदर जब आते थे तो उनको वो लोकल लोगों की तरह दिखते हैं, बिकॉज वो बॉर्डर से स्पॉन्सर्ड इन्फिल्ट्रेशन के थ्रू आ रहे हैं। वो पहनावा भी उनका वैसा ही है। फिर कुछ लोकल सिंपैथाइजर्स भी होते हैं जो उनको शेल्टर भी देते हैं। तो इस तरह से जब भी पहले क्या होता था कि जैसे ही एनकाउंटर होता था तो टेररिस्ट जो होते थे घबरा जाते थे, डर जाते थे और वो फायर ओपन करते थे, क्योंकि अब पकड़े जाएंगे, मारे जाएंगे, इससे पहले कुछ मार के ही मरे हम कम से कम। तो हमें सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस को पता चल जाता था कि ये टेररिस्ट है, बिकॉज वो फायर कर रहा है या कहाँ से फायर आ रहा है। धीरे धीरे उनको ये समझ आ गई, आई मस्ट से, कि हम तो लोकली दिखते हैं, हम तो भाषा भी वही बोलते हैं, तो हम अपना फायर क्यों ओपन करें। तो उन्होंने क्या टैक्टिक्स अपनानी शुरू की कि जैसे ही कॉर्डन एनकाउंटर होता था तो वो अपना वेपन कहीं छुपा देते थे,
सिविलियन ही हो जाते थे
और सिविलियन की तरह आके खड़े हो जाते थे। तो हम कॉर्डन करते थे, सिविलियंस गांव वाले सब इकट्ठा करते थे, उनको देखते थे, हमें कोई नहीं मिलता था। अब शक के बिना पे किसी को नहीं कर सकते तो हम छोड़ देते थे। 2-4 घंटे बाद, 8 घंटे बाद या अगले दिन पता चलता था कि वो टेररिस्ट वहीं थे, क्योंकि इंटरसेप्ट्स में आ रहे थे। वो जब वो बात करते हैं तो हमें पता चलता है अरे कल ये तो ऑपरेशन में थे और हम पकड़ नहीं पाए। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज था जो कि ऑप्स ब्रीफिंग के अंदर बड़ा डिस्कशन हो रहा था। तो हम सोचने लगे कि क्या हम डॉग से कुछ ऐसा कर सकते हैं। तो एज ए यंग मेजर आई वॉज लाइक कि कुछ करना है। हमने एक उस चीज़ को पहले अपनी यूनिट में करना शुरू किया। तो हमने क्या किया, ड्यूअल डिप्लॉयमेंट शुरू किया। एक एक्सप्लोजिव डॉग, एक ट्रैकर डॉग। तो ट्रैकर डॉग को ट्रेनिंग होती है ह्यूमन ऑर्डर की, और एक्सप्लोजिव डॉग को ट्रेनिंग होती है एक्सप्लोजिव्स के लिए। तो जब इस तरह का हमने एक यूनिट में एक मॉक ड्रिल की जिसमें हमने 20-25 लोगों को इकट्ठा किया, और उसमें से एक जो वेपन छुपा के आया हुआ था, पहले हमने ट्रैकर डॉग को लेके आए। ट्रैकर डॉग को उसके ऊपर हमने ऑर्डर दिया, तो उसने सर्च करके जो जहाँ वेपन छुपा के आया था वहाँ पे वो सबसे पहले हम एक्सप्लोजिव डॉग को लेके आए। तो हमने वो पूरी 20-25 की क्राउड में एक्सप्लोजिव डॉग को घुमाया। तो एक्सप्लोजिव डॉग ने हमें वो बंदा सस्पेक्ट पकड़ने में मदद की जिसके हाथों पे, बॉडी पे एक्सप्लोजिव्स की गंध आ रही थी, एम्यूनिशन की गंध आ रही थी, वेपन की गंध आ रही थी। जब उसने एक्सप्लोजिव वाले ने अपना काम कर दिया, फिर हमने ट्रैकर डॉग को बुलाया और ट्रैकर डॉग को उसके ह्यूमन ऑर्डर की गंध दे के उसको लगाया। तो जो जहां उसने छुपाया हुआ था वेपन, वहां पे हमें लेके गया। तो ये एक ऐसा अविस्मरणीय मेरे लिए वो ऑपरेशन है जिसमें जब हमने अच्छे से कर लिया तो फिर हमने ऑफ ब्रीफिंग में हमारे वही जीओसी साहब को हमने बोला कि लुक, ये इस प्रॉब्लम का ये सॉल्यूशन है।
इतना हाई लेवल तक डॉग्स जा सकते हैं, पता भी नहीं।
तो उन्होंने बोला ठीक है आप दिखाइए। तो उन्होंने अपने लोगों को बोला कि आप सिनेरियो क्रिएट करिए, क्योंकि मैंने जो ब्रीफ किया था वो तो मैंने किया था। तो उन्होंने अपनी संतुष्टि के लिए अपने लोगों से वो सिनेरियो क्रिएट किया और हमने डॉग ने जाके किया। तो ही वाज अमेज्ड। उसके बाद हमें बहुत सफलता मिली इन चीज़ों में, और हमने कई ऑपरेशंस इस तरह से क्रैक किए जिसमें हम ड्यूअल डिप्लॉयमेंट कर रहे थे, ट्रैकर एंड एक्सप्लोजिव का। एंड ये भी एक बहुत यादगार रहेगा मेरे लिए कि हम ऐसा कुछ कर पाए या ऐसा कुछ सोच पाए।
सर एक और चीज़ पूछना चाहूँगा कि ट्रैकिंग डॉग्स जैसे बॉम्ब स्निफर डॉग्स जो हैं वो तो स्पेसिफिकली जितने भी तरह के 20-25 अलग तरह के बॉम्ब के सब्सटेंसेस कॉम्पाउंड्स होते हैं उनको वो कहीं भी सूंघ लेते हैं, जूते में, गाड़ी में, सूटकेस में, बिल्डिंग्स में, कहीं पे भी। ट्रैकिंग डॉग्स क्या होते हैं? आर्मी में हम किन किन चीज़ों में यूज़ करते हैं ट्रैकिंग डॉग्स को?
देखिए, ट्रैकिंग डॉग जो है वो अगेन ट्रैकर डॉग इज़ ए आर्मी लैंग्वेज, क्योंकि ट्रैक का मतलब क्या है कि जो ग्राउंड के ऊपर क्रिएट हुआ है, सम ट्रैक बाय योर रनिंग और वॉकिंग, या कोई अगर गाड़ी से भी जा रहा है तो एक ट्रैक क्रिएट होता है, दैट्स ए विजिबल थिंग, विजिबल चेंज इन द सॉइल।
राइट।
तो ये आर्मी में होता है, बिकॉज आर्मी इज डिप्लॉयड ऑन द बॉर्डर,
करेक्ट,
एंड दीज आर दी जंगल टेरेन्स और वास्ट लैंड्स वेयर यू नो ट्रैक इज क्रिएटेड बाय मूवमेंट ऑफ एनीबॉडी।
राइट।
सो वहाँ पे ट्रैकर, लेकिन पुलिस के लिए ये हमारे कोर्स का एक बहुत बड़ा थीम है जिसको हम एजुकेट करते हैं
Okay.
कि जो पुलिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है उनके लिए ट्रैकर डॉग उतना मैटर नहीं करता, इट इज द ट्रैकिंग ट्रेलिंग डॉग,
मैन ट्रेलिंग
डॉग, बिकॉज अर्बन सेटिंग में ट्रैक नहीं बन पाता,
हवा में भी सूंघना है।
yes, तो इट्स a mix of tracking, trailing and air scenting.
scenting.
So this is a mix of dog, because ट्रैकिंग में ह्यूमन ऑर्डर उतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है,
बिल्कुल।
क्योंकि वो ट्रैक चेंज इन द सोइल जो में चेंज हुआ है बाय वर्च्यू ऑफ समवंस वॉकिंग और रनिंग, उसको पकड़ता है। लेकिन ट्रेलिंग के अंदर इट्स द ह्यूमन ऑर्डर, बिकॉज ट्रैक कुछ भी क्रिएट नहीं हो रहा है, इट इज द ह्यूमन डेड सेल्स विच आर लाइक राफ्ट्स विच आर फॉलोइंग, यू आर लिविंग द ऑर्डर एंड दैट्स व्हाट डॉग इज फॉलोइंग। और जब आसपास में जब सस्पेंडेड एयर होती है तो डॉग इंस्टेड ऑफ फॉलोइंग द ट्रैक और ट्रेल, दे आर पिकिंग अप सैंड फ्रॉम द एयर. So that is where the combination things. This is one of our big theme which we try to teach in our canine forensic courses, because apprehension of suspect is from the crime scene investigation, crime scene is one of the major focus which we are trying to teach.
Right. So क्या ढूंढते हैं ट्रैकिंग वाले डॉग? जैसे कोई बच्चा किडनैप हो गया हो, अब उसे ढूंढना है, या कोई टेररिस्ट या चोर छुपा हुआ है उसे ढूंढना है, तो क्या क्या पोटेंशियल है? इनफैक्ट आई थिंक मैन ट्रेलिंग और ट्रैकिंग से ही हम सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू का भी सिमिलर मेथड्स यूज़ कर सकते हैं. सो इन पुलिस एंड आर्मी कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं कि हमने मैन ट्रेलिंग और ट्रैकिंग डॉग्स को डिप्लॉय किया हुआ है? लाइक आर्मी यू वुड से कि टेररिस्ट कहीं पे छुपा हुआ है, वही हमने सेंट सुंघाई तो वो जाके ढूंढ सकते हैं. पुलिस में आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि कोई लेट्स से सीनियर पेरेंट या इन्फेंट चाइल्ड खो गया है या अबडक्टेड है या किडनैप्ड है, तो उसको भी यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं. एम आई करेक्ट? ऐसे ही व्हाट?
देखिए, आप जो बात कर रहे हैं वो है मिसिंग पर्सन सर्च या सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू डॉग्स.
करेक्ट.
दे आर डिफरेंट. वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ द मैन ट्रेलिंग या ट्रैकिंग ट्रेलिंग डॉग्स. ये लार्जली क्राइम सीन के अंदर इनकी रिक्वायरमेंट है. अभी आज की तारीख में क्या हो रहा है कि क्राइम सीन इन्वेस्टिगेशन में डॉग्स का इन्वॉल्वमेंट बहुत कम है या ना के बराबर है. कई ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में तो है भी नहीं. तो आपको जब क्राइम सीन मिलता है तो आपको सस्पेक्ट को ढूंढना है, क्राइम ऑब्जेक्ट को ढूंढना है और एक एविडेंस, एक ट्रेल बनानी है. एक एविडेंस ट्रेल. अनलेस यू क्रिएट दैट एविडेंस ट्रेल तो कोर्ट के अंदर उसकी कोई मान्यता नहीं होगी. तो इसलिए सबसे ज़रूरी है कि क्राइम सीन पे सबसे पहले डॉग को बुलाया जाए बिना डिस्टर्बेंस के. तो आपके पास क्राइम ऑब्जेक्ट है, सपोज ए नाइफ इज देयर थ्रू विच द मर्डर इज बीन डन, और ए हैमर इज देयर और सम ऑब्जेक्ट. सो उसके ऊपर जो सस्पेक्ट है उसका ऑर्डर होगा. So we give order from the crime scene, from object, from place, or left out blood trails or anything. So from there जो डॉग है वो कनेक्ट करता है सस्पेक्ट के पास. ऐसे कई केसेस पकड़े गए हैं या सक्सेसफुली डॉग ने किए हैं विद मैनी स्टेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जहाँ पे वो ऑर्डर देने के बाद में वो बंदे तक लेके गया है और उसको कंफर्म किया ये है. उसके बाद कुछ फोरेंसिक सिस्टम्स हमने ऐसे बनाए हैं, वी कॉल इट सेंट आइडेंटिफिकेशन लाइनअप्स. तो अगर आपके पास में ऑब्जेक्ट मिल गया है या आपके पास सस्पेक्ट मिल गया है, दोनों केसेस में हम सेंट आइडेंटिफिकेशन लाइनअप क्रिएट करते हैं. ये जैसे आइडेंटिफिकेशन परेड की तरह है.
जैसे 5 लोग रखे और बोला कि कौन सा था.
तो जैसे सस्पेक्ट जो विक्टिम है, कई दफे विक्टिम को बुलाते हैं 10, 15, 20 बंदों में कि कौन है जिसने पहचानी है, तो आइडेंटिफिकेशन परेड. उसी तरह से ये सेंट आइडेंटिफिकेशन लाइनअप है जिसमें कि नॉर्मल ब्लैंक ऑर्डर्स या दूसरे लोगों के ऑर्डर्स के बीच में से जो डॉग है वो राइट ऑर्डर को पिकअप करके कनेक्ट करता है. तो अगर वो डॉग क्राइम ऑब्जेक्ट को क्राइम सस्पेक्ट से अगर लिंक कर देता है, that's a big win and a big direction for the dog.
Closes the case
for the police. So that is where these dogs are playing a major role, and our focus is that the police organization should use more and more tracking trailing dogs for crime scene investigation.
So it's not only about, so dogs knows all in all is not just about sniffing out illegal substances like bombs and drugs and phones and weapons, but it's also sniffing and matching के कौन सा crime scene का weapon for example किससे match हो रहा है, किसी का रुमाल किसी का टोपी यहाँ रह गया है तो उससे उसकी smell match करके सबसे पहले instinctively वो pair कर सकते हैं. Forensics में भी fastest results, forensics का भी results up to 14 days ले लेता है. Otherwise human official की instinct है कि मुझे लगता है तू झूठ बोल रहा है, सच सच बता दे. Much faster than that is the dog's nose. I think I would say all in all dog's nose is the better judge of a criminal than you can say someone's instinct or some theory basically.
So we are हम लोग इस पे भी काम कर रहे हैं forensics में. जैसे DNA fingerprinting होती है, which is distinct DNA for you, distinct for me. That means we have a distinct identity through DNA. Similarly, our odor is also distinct.
Right.
So the dog can work as competent as a DNA forensics.
Right.
So we are trying to establish this protocol कि अब DNA fingerprinting कराने में तो कई दिन और कई पैसा लगेगा. But with the help of dog, you can right over there can discriminate that who's the associated person and whose identity is attached to this object or this scene. So we are trying to even bridge that gaps, and this is all part of the forensics and the police investigations.
So that wraps up our episode for today. Tell us in the comments how you like the conversations, what parts you agree and disagree with. Also, let us know who would you like as the next guest for our podcast. Please subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on any videos. Make sure you like and share this with your friends so that it increases our algorithm and helps us in producing content more and more. Hope you keep watching. See you again.